Chapter 1419. The void gate didn't look big on the outside, but it was extremely spacious on the inside. 36 people stepped into the void door and stood on both sides of the rectangular jade table. It still seemed very spacious. Although the people in the hall could not penetrate the door with their spiritual awareness, they could clearly see the actions of the 36 people. At this time, everyone was looking forward to it. They had heard that the materials for the radiant martial treasury were also very precious, but they did not know what those precious materials were. The people who entered the honorable martial treasury's void door were equally worried, although there were 36 people here, but in the end, only 20 entered the honorable martial treasury. Moreover, the lower one's ranking was, the lesser the reward. When all 36 of them stood up and each of them took a jade talisman, the jade box on the rectangular jade table suddenly opened. A translucent dewdrop appeared in front of everyone. The dewdrop was surrounded by water vapor, bringing with it a chilling aura of the Tao. What is this? After the appearance of this dewdrop, not only the people in the light treasury, but even the many master refiners who came to participate in the competition were frowning in silence. Tang Hua carefully sent a sound transmission to Ning Cheng. "Brother Ning, what is this thing? I've never seen it before. It seems to be ice or water." Tang Hua was a little apprehensive. Normally, the first question was the easiest. If he didn't even know the first question, then he definitely wouldn't know the rest. Fortunately, she was only here as a foil, as the main person to answer the questions was Ning Cheng. However, Ning Cheng felt extremely surprised in his heart. What surprised him was not the material, but the foundation of crafting artifacts that Zhongli Baiqi had given him. Originally, he had the confidence to come here to help Tang Hua participate in the selection. It was not because he had seen the basics of blacksmithing, but because he had seen countless blacksmithing jade slips and seen countless blacksmithing materials. He had seen these jade slips introducing the materials from Mount Jiaoliang. Jiaoliang Mountain was the site of the ancient creation war. Naturally, the things that existed there were not simple. Not only that, but he had also seen Lu Dong's cosmic vegetation. Plants and trees of the universe were not only used to describe alchemy materials, but they were also used to refine equipment. It was precisely because of this that he had the confidence to participate in the competition to identify materials. However, not only was this dewdrop not in any of the jade slips he had seen, it was also not in the universe plants. Instead, it was when he first learned the basics of refining. This basics of crafting artifact crafting really was not ordinary. Ning Cheng immediately thought of Zhongli Baiqi. Zhongli Baiqi was also a mysterious person. After hearing about his battle with some eternal-level Starry Sky Emperors from Grand Culmination Starry Sky, no one had heard any news about him. Ning Cheng had already guessed that the artifact crafting foundation that Zhongli Baiqi had given him was not an ordinary one. Moreover, the artifact crafting method for his good fortune spirit spear was also recorded in this book. The grade of the creation divine spear was much higher than any other divine weapon. "Don't worry, I know this thing." Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness began to engrave information on the jade talisman. Even though this thing looked like a dewdrop and even had water vapor Tao runes, it was a true fire-type treasure. This thing was called Flaming Heart Holy Marrow, and it was condensed from the highest level of innate flames. The dew condensed from the flames sounded incredible, but in fact, the Flame Heart Sacred Marrow was condensed from the flame. To be able to condense the Flame Heart Sacred Marrow, it must be an innate flame, a sacred flame that had not been refined by humans. It was absolutely impossible for a flame that had been artificially refined to condense the precious Flame Heart Holy Marrow. One of the most important functions of the Flame Heart Holy Marrow was to evolve flames into sacred flames. Moreover, there were also the Sun Core and Moon Core that could evolve flames into sacred flames. However, the Flame Heart Holy Marrow was much more precious than the Sun Core and Moon Core. The Flame Heart Holy Marrow could not only evolve a god-level flame into a sacred flame, but even if the flame itself was limited and could not evolve into a sacred flame, the Flame Heart Holy Marrow could still evolve it into a sacred flame. One could say that obtaining the Flame Heart Holy Marrow was equivalent to obtaining a sacred flame. Ning Cheng put the engraved jade talisman into the hole above the jade box and spoke to Tang Hua. I've already answered, there shouldn't be any problems. Ning Cheng did not use a sound transmission but spoke directly. A yellow-haired man standing next to Ning Cheng heard Ning Cheng's words and turned his gaze to Ning Cheng for a while. Probably because of Ning Cheng's fierce reputation, he did not say anything. After half an incense stick worth of time, the round hole above the jade box gradually closed, and some of the artifact crafting masters who could not answer could only put in the blank jade talisman in their hands. When everyone's jade talisman was put in, the rankings came out in less than 10 breaths. Ranked first was Grandmaster Seed, and ranked second was a lanky man named Si Tongha. Although Ning Cheng answered the questions very carefully, but he was still only ranked fifth. Seeing Ning Cheng's name on the list, Tang Hua heaved a sigh of relief and whispered to Ning Cheng, I thought that Grandmaster Seed had gone to the Mo Luan Royal region, but I didn't expect him to represent the sacred domain's Clan sacred sect in the competition. The clan? Ning Cheng seemed to have heard of this surname somewhere. Tang Hua explained from the side, the clan is the strongest surname in the Radiant's sacred domain. Among the 10 Dao monarchs, Wen Mao is said to be the strongest. Ning Cheng nodded. He suspected that Grandmaster Seed going to the Mo Luan Royal region was a smokescreen released by the clan, and only Tang Hua would fall for it. Just think about it, how could a powerful artifact crafting expert like Grandmaster Seed not participate in the Radiance Treasury competition? After the first round of the Radiance Treasury, there were a total of 13 people ranked. After the 13 names were announced, the jade table disappeared, and a wide white jade passageway appeared at the back of the chaotic space. At the end of the white jade passage, another door appeared. Those who were not on the list had no choice but to walk out of the first void door of the Radiance Treasury. After waiting for a long time, they came here just to answer one question, or rather, they had to leave before they could answer the first question. The people in the Radiance Treasury's main hall were somewhat surprised. The 13 people on the list, other than Ning Cheng, were basically the most famous artifact crafting masters of Radiance Dominion. They never expected that the Tang family would casually hand such an important matter to Tang Hua. Tang Hua had randomly found an unknown artifact crafting master, yet he had obtained 5th place in the first round. If this was luck, then the Tang family's luck was too good. Even Tang Shi was very surprised. To be honest, he was not optimistic about Ning Cheng's chances. Artifact crafting, especially identifying artifact crafting materials, was not about strength, but experience and insight. Ning Cheng was also very surprised. He did not expect that he would only obtain 5th place despite recognizing the Infernal Heart Sacred Marrow and answering it in such detail. Who said that the people of Radiance Dominion were not good at artifact crafting? These guys were very strong. Because of the 13 people on the list, there were only 26 people in front of the rectangular jade table at the second door. Tang Hua was in a very good mood. As long as Ning Cheng could answer the second question correctly, then he would almost certainly be able to enter the top 10. Even if Ning Cheng could not answer it, he would still have a chance to enter the top 10. The jade box in front of the second jade table slowly opened, revealing a fist-sized pale yellow crystal in the middle of the jade box. This crystal looked just like an ordinary stone. It did not have any Dao charm, no fluctuations, not even a trace of lines. Ning Cheng immediately remembered the cobblestones on the beach. They were also very smooth. Unfortunately, this kind of identifying material could not be touched by hand. Elder brother Ning. Tang Hua looked at the fist-sized pale yellow crystal and knew that she still could not recognize it. She could only look at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng frowned slightly. This thing gave him a familiar feeling, but it was not a very familiar feeling. To be honest, he had never seen this thing before. I'm afraid I can't recognize it this time. Ning Cheng spoke with some disappointment. Before he came here to participate in the selection, he was confident that he could enter the top 3. But now that he could not recognize it in the second round, it made him feel very disappointed. Once he could not recognize it in the second round, then even if he could recognize all the materials in the later rounds, it would not make any sense. This kind of competition depended on a bit of luck. If he could not pass the second round, then he would not be qualified to enter the third round, not to mention the fourth and fifth rounds. Tang Hua's eyes flashed with a trace of disappointment. Although Ning Qing coming here was a pleasant surprise for her. But now that Ning Qing really could not recognize it, she still felt a little disappointed. But then she tried to persuade him, "Elder brother Ning, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we enter the Radiance Treasury or not. The reason I came here was to rely on my luck." Tang Hua did not speak nonsense. After knowing that Grandmaster Zhongjing was not in the Mo Luan Imperial region, she did not intend to enter the Radiance Treasury. Seeing that some of the artifact crafting masters had already started to inscribe jade talismans, Ning Qing waved his hand at Tang Hua. "Miss Tang Hua, you don't have to be depressed. Let me try again." Since it was a loss, Ning Qing simply penetrated his spiritual consciousness into the pale yellow crystal. Ning Qing's spiritual consciousness easily penetrated the surface of the pale yellow crystal. But when his spiritual consciousness tried to penetrate the center of the crystal, it naturally slipped away. It was just missing a little bit. What the hell was this thing? As Ning Qing thought of this, he directly blasted it with a spiritual consciousness explosion. Since it was taken out for the assessment, it shouldn't be so easily destroyed by his spiritual consciousness explosion, right? The spiritual consciousness explosion swept up Ning Qing's Dao Charm aura and directly rushed into the center of the pale yellow crystal. A series of shrill cries arrived, causing Ning Qing to subconsciously shudder. This shrill scream was just too creepy, as if someone was refining a person. Refining? A picture suddenly flashed in Ning Qing's mind. This pale yellow crystal was not a natural artifact crafting material, but an essence spirit. A peerless powerhouse had refined a person alive and finally condensed their essence spirit into a crystal. What a vicious fellow. Ning Qing sucked in a breath of cold air. He felt even more sure that his guess was not wrong. Seeing the time for half an incense stick gradually disappear, Ning Qing did not think too much about it. His first purpose in coming here was to enter the Radiance Treasury. As for investigating who did it, he did not have the ability, nor did it have any meaning. Because this pale yellow crystal was refined and condensed from an essence spirit, he decided to call it a soul crystal for now. Ning Qing used his fastest speed to inscribe some of the things he guessed into the jade talismans, and then sent the jade talismans into the round hole above the jade box, which had already begun to close. Chapter 1420. How is it? Tang Hua hurriedly asked when she saw Ning Qing answer. Ning Qing hesitated for a moment before replying, "I'm not sure. I've never seen this kind of thing before. But even if I can't answer all the questions correctly, I should be able to answer some of them correctly." Tang Hua exclaimed, feeling a little puzzled. At this time, all the jade talismans were sent in. After a few breaths, the results of the second round of identification appeared. Almost the moment the list came out, Ning Qing saw his and Tang Hua's names, which were ranked 5th. "We're still 5th. Tang Hua was not as calm as Ning Qing and called out in surprise. 5th meant that they would definitely enter the top 10. In fact, there were only 6 groups of names on the list, which meant that Ning Qing and Tang Hua directly entered the top 6. After the rankings came out, a white jade passage appeared in front of them, and at the end of the passage was another door. Ning Qing took the lead without hesitation. 13 artifact refiners participated in the second round of selection, and in the end, only 6 people could enter the third door. As for the 7th to 10th place, Ning Qing did not care about it at all. Although the people in the Radiant Treasury's hall couldn't sweep through the void door with their spiritual consciousness, they clearly saw that Ning Qing had obtained 5th place. 5th place in both rounds, which meant that Tang Shi would definitely enter the top 6. "Brother Shi, I didn't expect you to have such a card up your sleeve. Where did you find this person?" A square-faced man walked up to Tang Shi and asked with some envy. Not only this square-faced man, but the other people next to him also looked at Tang Shi with envy. Tang Shi didn't seem to care much about the materials in the Radiant Treasury and casually gave this opportunity to her granddaughter, Tang Hua. He didn't expect that Tang Shi had planned this from the start and easily obtained the top 6. If Tang Shi didn't know Ning Qing before, and Ning Qing was accidentally found by her granddaughter, then no one in this hall would believe it. How could there be such a coincidence in the world? Tang Shi must have already known about Ning Cheng's level of artifact Dao, which was why she was willing to give this opportunity to Tang Hua. Yu Shi's face was a little gloomy. Although Yu clan also entered the top 6, he felt resentment towards Tang Shi in his heart. He and others thought that Tang Shi must have known Ning Cheng for a long time. Otherwise, there was no way that a random Dao integration stage Holy Emperor would be so proficient in the tool Dao. Previously, Tang Shi had shown that he was not familiar with Ning Cheng and was completely playing hard to get. Since Tang Shi already knew Ning Cheng, then the matter of Ning Cheng killing his granddaughter, Yu Duodai, was something that Tang Shi should have known about. Tang Shi opened his mouth and wanted to explain, but he didn't know how to explain himself. If he was in someone else's shoes, he would also be suspicious. Zhu Jin looked at Tang Shi with a meaningful gaze and spoke with a smile. Brother Tang has a good eye. You actually managed to pick such a powerful crafting Dao expert like Ning Cheng. Congratulations to Brother Tang for obtaining a top-grade treasure. Tang Shi's heart thumped. He didn't think that Zhu Jin was congratulating him out of goodwill. Even if Tang Hua and Ning Cheng entered the top 6, whether or not they would be able to obtain the top treasures was another matter altogether. How could he not understand Zhu Jin's meaning? He was implying that Nong Shirua's disappearance might have something to do with him. Because Ning Cheng's origin was unknown, and his relationship with the Tang clan was not shallow. If Nong Shirua's disappearance was the work of the Tang clan and Ning Cheng, then the darkness origin bead must be in the Tang clan's possession. The top-grade treasure that Zhu Jin spoke of was the darkness origin bead. Moreover, Ning Cheng teamed up with Tang Shi to kidnap Nong Shirua and obtain the darkness origin bead. Ning Cheng's 9 Reliance rest stop was right next to Nong Shirua's immortal cave. Since Ning Cheng was a crafting Dao grandmaster invited by the Tang clan, why didn't he stay with the Tang clan, but at the 9 Reliance rest stop? More importantly, why did Nong Shimu's immortal cave get destroyed, Nong Shirua taken away, and Ning Cheng disappear? And why was Ning Cheng's pet beast in the rest stop? Apart from this, Zhu Jin's words had another meaning, and that was to attract hatred. If Ning Cheng dared to destroy Leifu Dao Gate, then without the Tang clan's backing, no one would believe it. Even if Zhu Jin didn't attract hatred, Yu Shi already had a knot in his heart towards Tang Shi. Coupled with Zhu Jin's words, Yu Shi's face turned even more gloomy. He originally believed that Ning Cheng dared to act against his granddaughter Yu Duodai because of Tang Shi's support. Tang Shi could only cup his fists helplessly and politely, but in his heart he didn't know how to explain. To sever the relationship between the Tang clan and Ning Cheng, there was no other way besides taking the initiative to deal with Ning Cheng. Dao Friend Ning, if I didn't guess wrong, then Dao Friend Ning shouldn't have recognized the soul crystal, but rather judged it based on your own experience, right? A black-bearded old man deliberately took a few steps forward and asked Ning Cheng with cupped fists as he walked side by side with Ning Cheng. Tang Hua greets Grandmaster Zhong Jing. Seeing this black-bearded old man, Tang Hua quickly cupped his fists and saluted. So this was Grandmaster Zhong Jing. Ning Cheng also admired this black-bearded old man. In the consecutive tree ring identification competition, Grandmaster Zhong Jing ranked first. What Dao friend Zhong Jing said is correct. I really haven't seen this thing before. I just felt that it was a soul crystal with my spiritual consciousness. I didn't expect to guess correctly. Ning Cheng said modestly. Yes, please allow Zhong Jing to speak a few more words of nonsense. In fact, craftsmanship Dao is also a kind of grand Dao. If there is a scar in your heart, I'm afraid it would be difficult for you to go far. After saying that, Zhong Jing quickened his pace and was the first to step into the third door. Ning Cheng sneered in his heart. He had a good impression of Zhong Jing before. He didn't expect that this fellow would really use any means to get first place. What Zhong Jing meant was that he killed Nong Shirua to snatch the darkness origin bead, which meant that he was not worthy of being a craftsmanship master. Ning Cheng didn't believe that Zhong Jing was such a noble person. This fellow was trying to mess up his mind. This fellow should be trying to get first place. Ning Cheng really didn't know why Zhong Jing would consider him as his first opponent. It stood to reason that he was ranked 5th in both rounds. Zhong Jing should not have put him in his eyes. In fact, Ning Cheng's guess was right. The person that Zhong Jing was most worried about was Ning Cheng. If Ning Cheng had recognized the soul crystal in the second round, then he would have been able to obtain 5th place. The key point was that Ning Cheng did not recognize the soul crystal. Yet he could still obtain 5th place based on his own judgment. What did this mean? It meant that Ning Cheng was a strong competitor for the 1st place. He, Zhong Jing, had sacrificed too much for this 1st place. Because he wanted a treasure from the Radiant Treasure Vault. Only the 1st would have the chance to go in and choose. If he was not the 1st to go in, then the thing that he fancied would most likely be picked by someone else. After all, none of the people who could come here were weak in craftsmanship Dao. At this moment, the 12 people had already walked through the 3rd door. In front of everyone, there was also a rectangular jade table. A jade box was placed in the center of the jade table. However, this jade box was bigger than the previous 2 jade boxes. After the 6 jade talismans were taken away, the jade box slowly opened. Everyone's eyes were fixed on this jade box. As long as they could recognize the thing in this jade box, they would most likely advance to the top 3. The jade box opened, and a drop of black water suspended in the middle of the jade box. A drop of black water? Apart from Ning Cheng, the other 5 people stared at it with wide eyes. Even Grandmaster Zhong Jing frowned. He had never seen this drop of black water before. Although Ning Cheng recognized it, he was puzzled in his heart. He couldn't believe it, because this thing was too precious. When his mysterious yellow bead had gathered all 5 elements, it had once produced this thing. That's right, this was the first of the 10 innate waters, the 5-element spirit water. However, Ning Cheng's 5-element spirit water was completely different from this 5-element spirit water. How could there be a black 5-element spirit water? When he perfected the mysterious yellow bead, he obtained the 5-element spirit water, which was colorful and crystal clear. Ning Cheng's gaze and spiritual consciousness fell on this black water droplet. He had a feeling that this was definitely the 5-element spirit water. Tang Hua did not even ask Ning Cheng this time. She guessed that Ning Cheng did not know what it was. Because this time, Grandmaster Zhong Jing frowned and did not speak. He did not engrave anything on the jade talisman. She was sure that Grandmaster Zhong Jing had never seen this thing before. After Ning Cheng thought about it for a moment, he engraved the information about the 5-element spirit water on the jade talisman. He guessed that this 5-element spirit water should have undergone some changes. In the absence of certainty, it was better to answer honestly. Originally, Ning Cheng answered the questions very slowly. But this time, Ning Cheng was the first to answer and put the jade talisman into the hole above the jade box. "Brother Ning, did you answer it?" Tang Hua looked at Ning Cheng in surprise and asked. She believed that if Ning Cheng could not answer it, he would not have engraved the jade talisman so quickly. Ning Cheng nodded. "I just casually guessed it. As for whether it was correct or not, I don't know." After saying this, Ning Cheng's heart moved. He knew that his speed just now should not have been so fast. He should have thought about it for a long time and then engraved the jade talisman. But since he had already done it, he was not afraid. Even if someone recognized the 5-element spirit water and guessed that he probably had a 5 elements good fortune treasure on him, it would not be a threat to him. Ning Cheng's words made the rest of the artifact crafting masters participating in the selection even more anxious. Grandmaster Zhong Jing's face was as gloomy as a drop of black water. Seeing that the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn was almost up, everyone hurried to engrave the jade talisman. As for what was engraved on the jade talisman, perhaps only the person who engraved it would know. Looking at the round hole closing, Ning Cheng sighed in his heart. If only the first place was selected to go to the 4th door, it was likely that he would be the only one. Ning Cheng knew that he would not be the only one to go to the 4th door. The growth rings in front of him had already explained the situation. Sure enough, after everyone sent the jade talisman into the round hole, the results of the 3rd round of identification came out. Ning Cheng and Tang Hua impressively ranked first. The second place was not Grandmaster Zhong Jing but Grandmaster Lothar. Zhong Jing ranked 3rd. There were only 3 rankings on the list, which meant that only Ning Cheng, Grandmaster Zhong Jing, and Grandmaster Lothar would enter the 4th door of the Light Treasury. Ning Cheng glanced at Grandmaster Lothar. Grandmaster Lothar had blonde hair. When he ranked 5th in the first round, Lothar had already looked at him. Brother Ning, Grandmaster Lothar is helping the Holy Master of the Radiant Sanctuary participate in the Light Treasury's qualification selection. Tang Hua saw Ning Cheng looking at Grandmaster Lothar. She suppressed the excitement in her heart and whispered to Ning Cheng. Before participating in the selection, she never thought that she and Ning Cheng could rush into the top 3. Chapter 1421. Brother Sure, it looks like I underestimated this Ning Cheng. He actually managed to get first place in the 3rd round. Amazing, amazing. Zhu Jin, who was standing beside Tang Shi, sighed. Tang Shi was also shocked in his heart. How could he have imagined that Ning Cheng would not only rush into the top 3, but also get first place in the 3rd round? How was Zhu Jin looking down on Ning Cheng? He was clearly looking down on him, Tang Shi. As for amazing, it was obviously referring to him, Tang Shi. In his heart, he was also looking forward to it. If Ning Cheng really managed to get first place, then what harm was there in taking the blame? Sacred Master is overpraising me. This Ning Cheng was brought back by Hua or by accident. I have never interacted with him before, so I did not expect him to have this kind of ability. Tang Shi smiled as he explained to Zhu Jin and the few experts around him. Brother Shi, calling me Sacred Master is too polite. I have something to discuss with you. Zhu Jin's expression suddenly changed as he sent a sound transmission to Tang Shi. Tang Shi somewhat knew what Zhu Jin wanted to discuss, but he still sent a sound transmission. I do not know what Brother Zhu wants. As long as Tang Shi can help, Tang Shi will definitely do his best to help. Zhu Jin's face immediately revealed a happy smile. Actually, it's not a big deal. There is something in the Radiant Treasury that is of great use to me. If there is the first to enter the Radiant Treasury, I would like to use other treasures to exchange for this thing. What does Brother Shi think? Tang Shi sighed in his heart. Sure enough, this was the case. He cautiously replied, Brother Zhu, if Hua and Ning Cheng do not have an agreement, then I will definitely help Hua agree. If she has an agreement with that artifact crafting master, then I can only persuade her. Zhu Jin's face was full of smiles as he spoke. That's natural. Although he said that, Zhu Jin felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. Ning Cheng was an artifact crafting master invited by the Tang clan, which indicated that Ning Cheng and the Tang clan had a close relationship. Now Tang Shi said that he did not know about the secret agreement between Tang Hua and Ning Cheng. Who was he trying to deceive? Master Ning is really skilled. Master Laksa suddenly smiled as he looked at Ning Cheng. After the last round of identifying the materials, Grandmaster Jing Xing took the initiative to look for Ning Cheng to talk to him. This time, after the identification of the materials, Grandmaster Laksa took the initiative to look for Ning Cheng to talk to him. Obviously, in the eyes of these two masters, Ning Cheng had become their number 1 enemy. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile. I'm just trying my luck. Compared to Master Lothar, I'm still far behind. Grandmaster Zhong Jing walked over and said with a smile, there are only the 3 of us now. Grandmaster Ning, Grandmaster Lothar, please. This time, Grandmaster Zhong Jing did not grab the first spot. Instead, he extended his hand and asked Ning Cheng and Grandmaster Luo Sa to go first. Not only that, but he also directly upgraded Ning Cheng's address to the level of a Grandmaster. Ning Cheng was also not polite, and was the first to walk towards the white jade avenue that led to the 4th door. Grandmaster Zhong Jing took a step forward and walked to Ning Cheng's side before asking, Grandmaster Ning, when you answered that drop of black water, I saw that Grandmaster Ning answered the fastest. Could it be that Grandmaster Ning has seen this material before? Ning Cheng thought to himself, not only have I seen it, but my good fortune spirit spear was also refined from the 5 elements spirit water. He was too lazy to explain this to Si Jing. I'm just trying my luck. How can I see all kinds of materials? Ning Cheng's perfunctory words made Grandmaster Zhong Jing's face turn ugly. Although he was not very enthusiastic towards many people, in the Radiant Bright sect, whether it was Sacred Master Zhu Jin or the 10 Great Tao Lords, they all had to respectfully address him as Grandmaster Zhong Jing. There was really no one who would answer him in such a perfunctory manner like Ning Cheng. Grandmaster Ning, I have something to discuss with Brother Ning. Si Jing directly sent a sound transmission to Ning Cheng this time. Ning Cheng smiled and said without using a sound transmission, I wonder what Grandmaster Zhong Jing wants to discuss with me? As long as it doesn't affect me, I don't mind. Grandmaster Lothar looked at Grandmaster Zhong Jing in doubt, but he immediately understood what was going on and frowned. Si Jing did not expect Ning Cheng to disrespect him so much. He had clearly used a sound transmission just now, but Ning Cheng had said it out loud. This was simply contempt for him. There were a total of 6 people here, so he did not continue to speak. Instead, he smiled and said, I'll talk about it after this round of material identification. Ning Cheng just smiled but did not express any opinion. Even if Si Jing did not say anything, he knew what Si Jing wanted to say. He and Si Jing did not have any intersection, so if Si Jing wanted to ask him for help, it would definitely be regarding the first treasure to be taken after entering the Radiant Treasury. Most likely, Si Jing had taken a fancy to a certain treasure, but was worried that Ning Cheng would enter the Radiant Treasury first and take it away. Inside the 4th door, the 6 people stood still. After Ning Cheng and the other 2 took the jade talismans, the jade box on the rectangular jade table slowly opened. In fact, Ning Cheng was not only looking forward to the contents of the jade box, but he was also looking forward to the Radiant Treasury. He had not even entered the Radiant Treasury, but he had already seen treasures like the Flame Heart Sacred Essence and the 5 Elements Spirit Water. Once he entered the Radiant Treasury, how could the treasures be bad? The materials for the 4th round should not be any worse than the 5 Elements Spirit Water, right? After opening the jade box, Ning Cheng was once again dumbfounded. He did not know what it was. The contents of the jade box were very simple, only a black fingernail. Ning Cheng's heart sank. It seemed that there was no chance for him to be the first. Fortunately, even if he did not know it, he had already entered the top 3. Ning Cheng's heart calmed down, and he began to observe Grandmaster Zhong Jing and Grandmaster Lothar. To Ning Cheng's delight, these 2 seemed to have never seen this fingernail before. They were also frowning, and did not engrave any information on the jade talisman in time. It seemed that the 3 of them were standing on the same starting line this time. In that case, he still had a chance to get the first place. Ning Cheng looked at Grandmaster Zhong Jing, and Grandmaster Zhong Jing and Grandmaster Lothar both looked at Ning Cheng. Obviously, the 2 also saw that Ning Cheng, like them, had never seen such a thing, which made Grandmaster Lothar's heart slightly calm. Grandmaster Zhong Jing was even more afraid of Ning Cheng, because Ning Cheng had never seen a soul crystal before. But Ning Cheng, who had never seen a soul crystal before, could enter the top 6 with his own judgment. Who knew if Ning Cheng could surpass him again with his judgment? The 6 people here all used their spiritual consciousness to penetrate the black fingernail at the same time. At the center of the soul crystal, Ning Cheng used spiritual consciousness explosion, and his spiritual consciousness barely penetrated it. But this black fingernail, not only Ning Cheng, but everyone's spiritual consciousness could clearly see through it. In everyone's spiritual consciousness, this was the most ordinary fingernail. Apart from the black color and a bit bigger, there was no difference from an ordinary fingernail. Just right that this was a fingernail? Ning Cheng shook his head. If this was just an ordinary fingernail, it would never have appeared behind the 4th door. Tang Hua whispered to Ning Cheng, Brother Ning, I look at it, and it looks like an ordinary fingernail. I heard that the people with the bloodline of the ancient giants are several feet tall, so their fingernails should be the same size, right? Pan Qian? When Ning Cheng heard about the bloodline of the ancient giants, he immediately thought of Pan Qian. Then he remembered the Pan clan. He heard that the Pan clan was a race with the bloodline of the ancient giants. Moreover, the Pan clan had an extraordinary origin, and the owner of the good fortune indestructible axe was the Pan clan. Ning Cheng guessed that this fingernail should have nothing to do with the Pan clan. The Pan clan's universe was the 5 elements universe, while this place was the light and dark universe. Such independent universes existed in the vast void of the primal chaos, and he did not know how many of them there were. He had been cultivating for so long, but he could not even peek into one or two of them. For a technological planet like Earth, with only technology, he would never be able to peek into the true mysteries of the universe. With a sigh, Ning Qing knew that he had lost this time. Even Grandmaster Zhong Jing and Grandmaster Lothar could not answer it. Grandmaster Zhong Jing had taken first place twice, so his ranking should be above him. At most, he could only get second place. Zhong Jing seemed to have understood something, and his spiritual consciousness began to engrave on the jade talisman. Brother Ning, if it really doesn't work, then we can engrave something on it. Tang Hua saw Ning Cheng's expression and knew that Ning Qing really had no other way. Let me take a look. Ning Cheng was still unwilling to give up, so he let his spiritual consciousness fall on the black fingernail. It was not time yet, but he did not want to give up. Just like the technology on Earth, it might never be able to peek into the true mysteries of the vast universe, but the technology on Earth was developing every day. Every day, they would gain a little more understanding of the universe. Ning Qing guessed that the Radiant Treasury had something that everyone wanted. If he thought about it for a while, maybe he would get more answers. Ning Qing completely immersed his mind and Dao sense into this black fingernail. Not knowing how long it took, Ning Qing suddenly shook and opened his eyes. When his Dao sense lingered on this ordinary black fingernail, he seemed to have seen another universe. Was this ordinary black fingernail a space? No, if it was a space, why couldn't he penetrate his spiritual consciousness? Maybe the space was not on this fingernail, but the space he saw was behind the fingernail. Multidimensional space? Ning Qing felt shocked in his heart. From a technological point of view, this was a multidimensional space. But for cultivators, this was a boundary. The same position might have two different flows of time and space, and that kind of boundary might be different from ordinary boundary. For ordinary boundary, a cultivator could tear it apart when their strength reached a certain level. But this kind of different spatial boundary in the same position, Ning Cheng estimated that even if he reached the world creation realm, he might not be able to tear it apart. Perhaps, it was easier to explain this situation with the multidimensional space of technology. Brother Ning, time is almost up. Hurry up and write something in it. Tang Hua saw Ning Cheng frowning in thought and quickly whispered in Ning Cheng's ear. Ning Cheng immediately sobered up. This was not the time to study this thing. He was still participating in the fourth round of the material identification competition. Although Ning Cheng was not sure if his judgment was correct or not, and he did not have the time to continue to observe, he still engraved his guess into the jade strip. The multidimensional space that he felt a moment ago might not have been the fingernail itself, but because of this black fingernail, he could see the multidimensional space. This black fingernail was just a medium that allowed him to feel different space-time in the same position. Chapter 1422. Among the three of them, Zhongning City was the last one to send in the jade talisman. As soon as his jade talisman was sent in, the hole closed up. A young man standing beside Master Seed suddenly said, "Master Ning has thought it over carefully. I'm sure he has a great deal of confidence." This is Yi Ba, a peerless genius of the Radiant Sacred Domain's Yi family. Tang Hua sent a voice transmission to Ning Qing. Ning Qing nodded. The number 1 Dao Lord of the Radiant Sacred Region's 10 Dao Lords was Yi Wenmao, and Grandmaster Seed had helped the Yi clan's sacred sect. If not for Grandmaster Zhong Jing's disgusting words from before, Ning Qing would have treated him kindly. Because of Master Zhong Jing, Ning Qing had no intention of befriending the Yi family. After this, even if he couldn't leave the light and dark universe for a while, he wouldn't stay in the Holy Realm. Ning Qing had no intention of cozying up to a large family clan like the Yi family's sacred sect. Seeing Ning Qing ignoring him, Yi Ba's face turned gloomy. As the number 1 genius of the Yi family, Yi Ba was greeted with smiles and flowers wherever he went. At this time, he took the initiative to talk to Ning Qing, but Ning Qing unexpectedly dared to ignore him. According to his thoughts, Ning Qing should have quickly walked over and politely answered him, or at least cupped his fists to greet him. But now, IBA was being treated like air. Fortunately, when the rankings were announced, Yi Ba's awkwardness were resolved. This feeling of discomfort quickly disappeared from Yiba's body. He looked at the name plate in disbelief. In fact, there were only 2 names on it. Moreover, these 2 names were in the same row. In other words, among Ning Cheng, Grandmaster Zhong Jing and Grandmaster Lothar, one of them had taken the first place. Naturally, his name was not on it. Not only that, but the name displayed was that of the person who had angered him a moment ago, Ning Cheng. When Tang Hua saw that there was only Ning Cheng and her name on the nameplate, she was so excited that it was difficult for her to control herself. Master Zhong Jing clenched his fists, and the Dao runes around him became a little chaotic. However, he soon calmed down as he looked at Ning Cheng with a smiling face and spoke. Grandmaster Ning really did as I expected, and obtained the first quota to enter the treasure house. Congratulations, congratulations. Ning Cheng was also very excited in his heart. He was naturally happy that he had obtained the first place, but what made Ning Cheng even more happy was that his guess was correct. How many mysteries were there in the vast universe? It was a pity that the time he spent comprehending the black fingernail was too short. If he was given a little more time, he might be able to find the answer. If the Radiant Storehouse had this black nail, then Ning Cheng would have definitely used up one of his opportunities to choose the materials to take away this black nail. Dong dong dong. 3 consecutive sounds rang out. The sound was like the sound of water droplets falling on the surface of a quiet lake. It was very pleasant to the ears. 3 key-shaped jade talismans landed on the rectangular table. Clearly, these 3 key-shaped items were for the top 3. Each key was engraved with a name. Ning Cheng could clearly see that his and Tang Hua's names were engraved on a purple-colored key. Behind his and Tang Hua's names, there was a first character. He had seen the key to the seed mirror, and the number engraved under the name was Zisher. Apart from that, there were also 5 golden marks on the purple key. Ning Cheng raised his hand and took the purple key in his hand. The first should be the first to enter the treasury, and the second should be the second to enter. Congratulations, Grandmaster Ning, you have obtained the first qualification to enter the treasure house. Grandmaster Lothar's face showed an obvious sense of loss, but he still came over and cupped his fist to congratulate Ning Cheng. Brother Ning, let's go in. Only after we come out, the second key will take effect. Tang Hua whispered with a slightly excited tone. She still could not contain it. The Radiant Storehouse was known as the most valuable treasure house in the entire light and dark universe. How many good things were inside? She was really lucky to be able to join forces with Ning Cheng. This meant that she could get 2 kinds of materials from the Radiant Storehouse. Getting 2 kinds of materials was not the most important thing. The most important thing was that she and Ning Cheng would be the first to enter the Radiant Storehouse to choose. A burst of roaring sounds came, and in front of the crowd, a path once again appeared. This was no longer a white jade passage, but a purple gold passage. At the end of the passage, there was a closed door, with only a keyhole on the door. Even a fool could imagine that behind this door was the real Radiant Storehouse. And the key to enter this door was now in the hands of the top 10 people who identified the materials. Ning Cheng looked at the key in his hand, and in his heart, he admired the creator of this treasure house. This creator may have been a witness to the opening of the light and dark universe. How many treasures did a chaotic universe have? And some of these treasures might be in the Radiant Storehouse. Grandmaster Ning, please wait a moment. Grandmaster Zhong Jing saw Ning Cheng about to enter the treasure house and quickly stopped Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng stopped, looked at Grandmaster Zhong Jing and said calmly, I wonder why Grandmaster Zhong Jing stopped me? Zhong Jing had a warm smile on his face. Grandmaster Ning, do you remember that I had something to discuss with you? Ning Cheng replied in a calm voice, I don't remember. Zhong Jing suddenly froze. According to the normal plot, after he said this sentence, Ning Cheng should have immediately said that he remembered and finally asked him about it. Then he would have brought up the matter of trading with Ning Cheng. What he did not expect was that Ning Cheng did not give him any face and directly said that he did not remember. If it were an ordinary item, Zhong Jing would not hesitate to turn around and ignore Ning Cheng. But he did not know how much effort he had put into obtaining this treasure in the Radiant Storehouse. Now that he was about to succeed, An unknown person like Ning Cheng had snatched the first place. If he had known that Ning Cheng had this kind of ability, he would not have hesitated to kill Ning Cheng. Brother Ning, I want to trade something with you. Brother Ning can put forward any conditions, plus I owe Brother Ning a favor in exchange. Brother Ning can rest assured that the materials I want will not be of any use to Brother Ning. Zhong Jing forcibly suppressed the discomfort in his heart and spoke with a solemn voice. Even the way he addressed Ning Cheng had changed from Grandmaster Ning to Brother Ning. From Taoist Ning to Grandmaster Ning, and then to Brother Ning. Perhaps only Zhong Jing himself could understand this change in his state of mind. This time, he did not dare to send a sound transmission again. He knew that Ning Cheng would not buy his words. Ning Cheng showed a slight smile. Taoist Zhong Jing, what use is your favor to me? Can you help me fight, or can you help me refine artifacts? Zhong Jing suddenly became speechless. In terms of cultivation, he was indeed higher than Ning Cheng. He was at the great circle of the creation realm and was only a step away from the unification realm. This cultivation might be an unattainable realm in front of others. But in front of Ning Cheng, this cultivation might not be enough. As for refining artifacts, he was not as good as Ning Cheng in the material identification competition. How could he help Ning Cheng refine artifacts? Seeing Ning Cheng turn around and continue to leave, Zhong Jing's face turned as gloomy as a black pot. He opened his mouth for the second time, but this time it was not Ning Cheng but Tang Hua. Niece Tang Hua, your grandfather and I have a deep friendship. Tang Hua did not wait for Zhong Jing to finish speaking and spoke with an apologetic and respectful tone with cupped fists. This junior has always admired Grandmaster Zhong Jing, but entering the Radiance treasury this time is not something this junior can decide. This junior has to wait for Brother Ning to finish choosing before I can choose. If Grandmaster is interested in the materials I took out, this junior is willing to exchange with Grandmaster. I can take out 4 top-quality spirit artifacts, a top-notch world, a Radiance Grand Spirit technique. Zhong Jing did not care about anything else and simply spoke his mind. When Tang Hua heard these things, she immediately felt moved. What was her purpose in entering the Radiance treasury? In the end, it was for the artifacts. Materials were not artifacts, and no matter how good the materials were, they could not directly turn into artifacts. However, she did not want to make the decision herself. Instead, she looked at Ning Cheng and asked, Brother Ning, do you mean? Ning Cheng knew that Si Jing's conditions were in fact not for Tang Hua, but for him. Because even if Zhong Jing and Tang Hua successfully traded, Ning Cheng would still be the one to provoke the artifacts first. Zhong Jing wanted him to listen to these conditions, and then choose to trade. Unfortunately, the conditions proposed by Zhong Jing were garbage to Ning Cheng. Whatever you choose, I naturally have no opinion on it. After I pick out the materials that belong to me, the rest of the materials will be yours. You can decide as you please. Ning Cheng said with a smile. Tang Hua, who did not understand it, suddenly understood after listening to Ning Cheng's words. Zhong Jing did not want to trade with Tang Hua, but with Ning Cheng. Grandmaster Zhong Jing, I'm really sorry, but this junior will still say what I just said. After this junior comes out, if Grandmaster is interested in my materials, this junior is willing to trade with Grandmaster. Tang Hua spoke with a respectful tone. Ning Cheng secretly nodded his head, even if he took out 3 materials first. Even if Zhong Jing used 4 top-quality spirit artifacts, he would not be able to trade for the items in the Radiance treasury. If the things in the Radiance treasury were all trash, then Zhong Jing would not have done such a thing. Seeing Ning Cheng and Tang Hua walk towards the Radiance treasury, Zhong Jing's heart felt like it was on fire. Anger, unwillingness, regret, and a little expectation. That was, he hoped that Ning Cheng would not take away what he needed. Zhu Jin saw Ning Cheng and Tang Hua walk towards the door of the Radiance treasury, and his eyes almost popped out. He was worried that Ning Cheng would take the first place, which was why he greeted Tang Shi first. What he did not expect was that Ning Cheng really took the first place, and even went to open the Radiance treasury. The reason why he invited Grandmaster Lothar was that he also wanted something from the Radiance treasury. Grandmaster Lothar and Grandmaster Zhong Jing were different. Grandmaster Lothar did not have anything in particular, which was why he hit it off with him. Now that Ning Cheng was about to open the treasury, he did not think about how to stop Ning Cheng from entering the treasury, but to quickly communicate with Tang Shi. By the time Zhu Jin understood this, he found that Tang Shi was already surrounded by several Dao monarchs. He quickly squeezed in and cupped his fists. Congratulations, Brother Shi, for being the first to enter the Radiance treasury. Tang Shi still could not understand how his Tang clan could get the first qualification to enter the Radiance treasury. The first qualification to enter the Radiance treasury allowed one to choose 5 materials. However, he did not know about the agreement between his granddaughter, Tang Hua, and Ning Cheng. If he had known in advance that his Tang clan could get the first place, how could he not care about this matter? At this moment, there was nothing that made him regret more than this. Chapter 1423. Brother Shi, please help me stop Hua. Otherwise it would be too late. Brother Shi, don't forget what I asked you before. Zhu Jin called out to Tang Shi from afar. He had no choice but to call out. If he did not call out, Tang Hua and Ning Cheng would enter the Radiant Treasury. In fact, even if Zhu Jin did not speak, Tang Shi was also prepared to call out to Tang Hua. Before, he did not think that Tang Hua could get first place. Now that Tang Hua got first place, he had to explain to Tang Hua what he wanted from the Radiant Treasury. With so many treasures in the Radiant Treasury, he would not feel at ease letting Tang Hua and an outsider enter. The reason why he did not speak was to let Zhu Jin stop him, and then he would give Zhu Jin some face. Everyone quieted down and looked at Tang Shi. After Zhu Jin spoke, Tang Hua pretended to hesitate for a moment before nodding and taking out his communication pearl to send a message to Tang Hua. Before the results of the Radiant Treasury's selection came out, the Radiant Treasury's main hall could not send out messages to the participants. Now that the selection had ended, apart from not being able to enter the Radiant Treasury's main hall, the people in the Radiant Treasury's main hall could send out messages to the participants. Seeing that they were about to reach the Radiant Treasury's main door, Tang Hua suddenly stopped. Ning Cheng looked at Tang Hua in doubt. Why did you stop? For Ning Cheng, after entering the Radiant Treasury, he was the first to choose. But since he came here with Tang Hua, then he had to wait for Tang Hua to enter together. This was a form of courtesy. After all, this opportunity was given to him by Tang Hua. My grandfather sent me a message, saying that he wanted me to stop and explain some things to me. Tang Hua spoke in an apologetic tone. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile but did not speak. He guessed that if it was not someone who wanted to trade with Tang Shi to stop Tang Hua, then it was Tang Shi himself who wanted the treasures in the Radiant Treasury. No matter which one it was, he did not care. He only wanted to pick out the 3 treasures that belonged to him. As for the remaining 2, it was up to Tang Hua to deal with it. Zhu Jin, who was in the Radiant Treasury's main hall, saw Tang Hua stop and immediately felt relieved. The people in the hall probably already knew his purpose, so he did not bother to send a sound transmission. Instead, he directly spoke to Tang Shi. Brother Shi, I only want one thing, the rest will be up to Brother Shi. Of course, I will give Brother Shi a chance to choose from the treasury. At the same time, I will give Hua my Misty Rain Radiance Divine Art. As long as Zhu Jin is able to do it, there won't be a problem. Master Lothar represented Zhu Jin in the treasure vault selection. Master Lothar also placed in the top 3 and had 3 chances to choose from the Radiant Vault. Everyone in the Radiant Treasury sighed inwardly. No one would be able to reject Zhu Jin's offer. There was no need to talk about Zhu Jin's status. After Zhu Jin gave Tang Hua a chance to pick the materials, he even said that Tang Hua could name any condition she wanted. More importantly, the Misty Rain Radiance Sacred Art was one of Zhu Jin's great sacred arts. Tang Shi naturally would not offend Zhu Jin over such a matter, mainly because he was different from Master Zhong Jing. He did not have any particular treasure that he wanted. Now that Zhu Jin mentioned such a condition, he did not hesitate to say, Brother Zhu, rest assured. I believe that Hua will definitely agree to this condition. Zhu Jin was overjoyed. He even rejoiced that the Tang clan had obtained first place. If Master Seed won first place, it would be difficult for the exchange to succeed. Ning Cheng and Tang Hua did not have to wait long before another message fell into Tang Hua's hands. Tang Hua's spiritual consciousness swept through the message and looked at Ning Cheng with some embarrassment. Brother Ning, Holy Master Ju of the Radiant Sacred Domain made a deal with my grandfather. He wants to give him the first chance to choose the materials. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile but did not speak. He had already made a deal with Tang Hua. Once he obtained first place, he would get to choose 3 materials first, while Tang Hua would get to choose the remaining 2. Now that Tang Hua said that he would give up the first chance to choose the materials, he would never agree to it. Even a fool would know that if the Radiant Treasury had the best treasures, it would be the first to be chosen. Perhaps Ju Jin's people might not be the first to choose the best treasures, but why would he give up such an opportunity? Elder Brother Ning, I only want one kind. Tang Hua carefully asked. She felt very embarrassed. If someone else had made a deal with her grandfather, she would not have hesitated to reject it. The reason why she agreed to let Ning Cheng choose 3 materials first was because she knew that Ning Cheng would not get first place. The second reason was that she didn't care about the rest of the selections. She didn't expect that not only would she get first place, but Ju Jin would also want to make a deal with her grandfather. She could use a euphemistic tone to reject Mirror Seed, but she couldn't let her grandfather refuse Ju Jin. As the Holy Master of the Radiant Sacred Domain, despite being suppressed by the 10 Dao monarchs, his status still faintly surpassed the 10 Dao monarchs. What's more, the 10 Dao monarchs were always scheming against each other and weren't united. Ning Cheng looked at Tang Hua and said calmly, I will go in and have a look. If there really isn't anything I need urgently, I will give you the first chance. If there is, then I'm sorry, but I will not give it up. Tang Hua sighed. She knew that Ning Cheng's answer was already very generous. This person even dared to kill Yu Duodai and even dared to destroy the Leaf Dao Gate. Naturally, he wouldn't fear her Tang clan. Forget it, I'll tell my grandfather the truth. Tang Hua thought about it and didn't continue to embarrass Ning Cheng. Instead, she sent out a message. This was because the first place could have 3 people enter the Radiant Treasury, while Ning Cheng and Tang Hua only had 2. Ju Jin was prepared to let the Ju clan's third-place disciple enter the Radiant Treasury together with Ning Cheng and Tang Hua. Tang Shi received a message. After Tang Shi read the message, his face suddenly turned gloomy and ugly. Brother Shi, is there a problem? Seeing Tang Shi's gloomy face, Ju Jin's heart thumped. He had a bad feeling. This person really doesn't know how to appreciate favors. He actually negotiated with Hua. He will take 3 things first, and then Hua will get the remaining 2. Tang Shi was truly angry. According to his thoughts, Ning Cheng was only helping Tang Hua answer the questions. At most, Tang Hua would take 4 of the materials, and then give Ning Cheng the last one. Even if the Tang clan didn't give any of the materials from the treasury to Ning Cheng, when Ning Cheng came out, they could just give him something else as compensation. Not to mention, taking 3 out of the 5 materials and still having to choose first, this was simply going too far. This is too much. After Tang Shi's anger subsided, he cursed out loud. In his view, Tang Hua was too young, which led to him being deceived by Ning Cheng. Tang Shi's anger was obvious. It was as if Ning Cheng should have helped Tang Hua break into the treasury, and then when it was time to choose the things, he should have quickly stepped aside and not asked for anything. It was best to say that this was what he should have done. Ju Jin could see that Tang Shi was truly angry, causing him to feel a little lost in his heart. Did Tang Shi not have much contact with this Ning Cheng before participating in the Radiant Treasury selection? Did he not know that Ning Cheng would get the first place? This is indeed too much. Ju Jin followed up with a sentence. He wanted to know how Tang Shi would deal with this matter. Tang Shi cupped his fists towards the crowd. Because I gave the opportunity to enter the treasury to Tang Hua, I did not think that Tang Hua would be deceived in such a manner. After the Radiant Treasury closes, this one will take away the justice that belongs to the Tang clan. I hope that everyone can lend a hand. Listening to Tang Shi's words, the people around him felt puzzled. Everyone's thoughts were the same as Ju Jin's. Did Tang Shi really not communicate with that artifact crafting master beforehand? Brother Shi, rest assured. As long as Brother Shi makes a move, I will be the first to help. What everyone did not expect was that the first one to come out to support Tang Shi was Yu Shi, who had a grudge against Tang Shi previously. Many thanks, Brother Yu. Tang Shi quickly cupped his fists and thanked him. Many people understood Tang Shi's meaning at this moment, regardless of whether Tang Shi had communicated with Ning Qing before or not. With Tang Shi's words, it was tantamount to not offending Yu Shi and Zhu Jin. Not only would he not offend them, but he would also receive Yu Shi's help, and even Zhu Jin would help him. Perhaps the help was secondary. The most important thing was that Tang Shi wanted to deal with Ning Qing and take away the treasures from the Radiant Treasury. However, he was worried that he would not be strong enough, which was why he pulled others to help him. For Tang Shi, this was simply killing many birds with one stone. Sure enough, after Yu Shi expressed his stance, Zhu Jin also spoke up in a dignified tone. Since such an evil person managed to sneak into my radiant sacred domain, even if Brother Shi did not say such words, I, Zhu Jin, would not let this person off. From the looks of it, niece Shirua was also kidnapped by this person. Brother Shimu has contributed so much to my radiant sacred domain, how can I not stand up for niece Shirua? As for killing Yu Duodai, Zhu Jin did not need to say anything. Yu Shi already hated Ning Qing to the bone. Everyone sighed in their hearts. These people all had good means. For Tang Shi, this way he could find a helper to kill Ning Qing openly and take away Ning Qing's treasures. For Yu Shi, there were two more experts joining hands to deal with Ning Qing and avenge Yu Duodai. And for Zhu Jin, he could also get his things, unless Ning Qing did not choose the treasures he fancied. His words also told Tang Shi that even if Tang Shi put on an act, he would still take action. Reason? Didn't that mean that Ning Qing destroyed Nong Shimu's cave and kidnapped Nong Shirua? Ning Qing had not even left the Radiant Treasury, but the alliance against him had already been formed. Brother Ning, I'm afraid that when you go out, someone might make a move against you. Tang Hua had always lived in the Sacred Lord region of the Radiant Sacred Domain, so she had witnessed the strength of those experts. Take her grandfather, Tang Shi, for example. He treated her very well, but to others he was equally domineering. Ning Qing placed the key with 5 golden lights in his hand into the keyhole of the door and said calmly, "If you want to make a move, then bring it on. If I were afraid, I would not have come here to fight for the Radiant Treasury today." Gotcha. After Ning Qing said this, the key in his hand released a Dao charm aura, and the heavy door slowly opened. Chapter 1424. As soon as the door opened, the purple key automatically fell into Ning Qing's hand. Seeing the things in the treasure house, Ning Qing didn't know how he got in, nor did he know how the heavy door behind him closed. When it came to all kinds of treasures, Ning Qing had seen too many of them. He even had the mysterious yellow bead, a good fortune treasure, but facing the Radiance treasure house, he was still shocked. Rows upon rows of crystal cabinets were filled with materials. Every single one of them would cause countless experts to fight over and kill each other. Not to mention the light origin aura and darkness origin aura in the crystal cabinets. Ning Qing even saw a part of the heaven-opening iron. As for the indefinite light stone, which Tang Hua said was used to refine the Radiance treasure chariot, it was like garbage in the outermost area. The soul-gathering immortal lotus, which Ning Qing had been pursuing, was also the most garbage in this place. What did he see here? Darkness origin scroll, light origin scroll, heaven opening iron, part of the origin membrane of the universe. The breath soil, which Ning Qing had been pursuing, also existed here. Although only the breath soil existed among the 5 earths, Ning Qing didn't think that the owner of this place couldn't collect the other 4 earths. It should be that the other 4 earths were too low grade to be placed here. Half innate treasure chariot, innate Dao fruit, 5 elements chaos world. How is this a treasure house? This could be considered a collection of the best treasures since the creation of the world. Ning Qing felt a little short of breath. If he could take away this treasure house, why would Xing Shi compete with him for the gate of good fortune? After a long time, Ning Qing breathed in and gradually calmed down. He knew that it was impossible to pack up the entire treasury and take it away. Hearing Tang Hua's rapid breathing, Ning Cheng looked back at Tang Hua. If he was completely shocked, then Tang Hua's mouth was wide open, and her eyes were filled with madness. Ning Cheng didn't think that Tang Hua's expression was exaggerated. He patted Tang Hua's shoulder and said, "Wake up. You have to choose the treasures that belong to you." Heavens, I wonder if I'm dreaming. Tang Hua rubbed her eyes. Before entering the treasure house, after listening to Master Zhong Jing's conditions, she didn't hesitate to say that as long as Master Zhong Jing was willing, she could exchange the things she chose from the treasure house with him. Now that she had entered the treasury, she realized how childish her thoughts were. No matter what she chose from the treasury, she would not exchange it with Master Zhong Jing. Only an idiot would be willing to do this. You're not dreaming. I didn't think that there would be so many treasures in the Radiant Storehouse. Ning Cheng spoke with a dignified tone. He guessed that Zhu Jin and the 10 Dao monarchs did not expect the treasures in the Radiant Treasury to be so shocking. If they knew about it, the fight for the right to enter the Radiant Treasury would probably be at least 10 times harder than what he did previously. There was no way the Dao Lords in the Dao Lord realm would stand aside and watch. Tang Hua was a Dao-molding divine emperor. After she woke up, she said respectfully, "Brother Ning, according to our agreement, you can choose 3 first. I'll choose the other 2. As she spoke, Tang Hua looked at the half-connate treasure chariot. If it were her, her first choice would be this treasured carriage, and her second choice would be the light source scroll. A half-connate treasure chariot was something far beyond a top-grade spirit artifact, not to mention a flight-type weapon. Although it wasn't at the Xiantian level, it wasn't because the treasure chariot wasn't good, but because it was innately incomplete. Ning Cheng nodded and walked towards an inconspicuous crystal cabinet. This cabinet didn't contain any earth-shattering materials, nor did it contain any Xiantian treasures or Dao fruits. There was only an irregular piece of stone inside. The stone was about the size of a fist, gray, and unremarkable. "Brother Ning, is this the first stone you want to choose?" Tang Hua looked at Ning Cheng in disbelief. What was so special about this stone? However, she immediately froze and spoke with some excitement. "Big Brother Ning, this is Primal Chaos Aura." She didn't even notice the change in the way she addressed him. Ning Cheng nodded cautiously and said, "If I'm not wrong, whether it's Master Zhong Jing or that Zhu Jin, they both want this stone." Tang Hua nodded without hesitation. She had been dazzled by the other treasures. If she had carefully searched around the treasure house, she would have definitely chosen this stone. Because everything in the treasure house was wrapped in the crystal cabinet's restrictions, not even the slightest bit of it was exposed. Only the primal chaos aura of this stone couldn't be locked by the restrictions. Anyone who came in would be able to feel this stone. "Is this an epic-making product?" Tang Hua asked in awe. Ning Cheng shook his head and said, "Not necessarily. There are many epic-making products here, but I feel that this stone is from before the universe." Ning Cheng had a strong feeling that this stone would be useful to him and would play a great role. Perhaps when he took the 3rd step, he would have to land on this stone. No wonder Master Zhong Jing and Sacred Master couldn't wait to trade before we entered the treasure house. This kind of thing, as long as we came in, we would definitely find it. Tang Hua seemed to be talking to herself. Ning Cheng inserted the key in his hand into the keyhole of the crystal cabinet, and a Dao charm spread out. Then the crystal cabinet slowly opened, and a more majestic primal chaos aura seeped out. Ning Cheng immediately rolled up the stone and put it into a jade box that he had prepared a long time ago. He then sealed the jade box and sent it into the mysterious yellow bead. The key once again fell into Ning Cheng's hands, but the 5 golden traces on it had decreased by 1, becoming 4. Tang Hua looked at the key in Ning Cheng's hand with envy. She wanted to ask Ning Cheng about the stone, but she knew that this request was too much. "Big Brother Ning, what do you want to choose for the second treasure?" Tang Hua's heart pounded as she asked Ning Cheng. Her eyes had already swept through the countless treasures in the treasure house. Because after Ning Cheng made his choice, she still had 2 chances to choose. Ning Cheng walked to the small group of fetal membranes that contained the origin of the universe and said, "My second choice is this." With that, Ning Cheng directly inserted the key, and another Dao charm spread out. The crystal cabinet opened, and a palm-sized fetal membrane fell into Ning Cheng's hands. Before the origin aura could spread out, Ning Cheng put it into a jade box and sent it into the mysterious yellow bead. Only 3 golden traces remained on the purple key. The first 2 things that Ning Cheng chose did not exceed Tang Hua's expectations. In Tang Hua's view, whether it was the stone that exuded a vast and majestic aura of primal chaos, or the palm-sized universe fetal membrane, both were peerless treasures in this radiant treasury. However, Ning Cheng stood in front of the crystal cabinet containing the soul-gathering immortal lotus, and Tang Hua almost thought that she had seen it wrong. The soul-gathering immortal lotus was indeed a top-grade material, but that was only relative to the outside world. In this radiant treasury, the soul-gathering immortal lotus was nothing more than garbage, not even comparable to garbage. Or, if there was a crystal cabinet in the treasury, the creator of the treasury might have casually thrown something inside, and that thing would be the soul-gathering immortal lotus. Big Brother Ning, you wouldn't choose the soul-gathering immortal lotus for the 3rd item, right? Tang Hua asked in disbelief. Ning Cheng nodded. That's right, I do want to choose the soul-gathering immortal lotus for the 3rd item. A friend of mine had his corporeal body destroyed, and after so many years, I couldn't find the soul-gathering immortal lotus. Since I saw it in the radiant treasury today, I naturally want to take it away. But it's too wasteful. Tang Hua spoke up anxiously. The soul-gathering immortal lotus was a treasure that could be found outside. Everything here was irreplaceable. Seeing Ning Cheng shake his head and continue to insert the key into the keyhole of the soul-gathering immortal lotus, Tang Hua could no longer bear it. Big Brother Ning, wait. After Ning Cheng stopped, she quickly spoke up. Big Brother Ning, I know a place that might have the soul-gathering immortal lotus. I heard that not only does it have the soul-gathering immortal lotus, but it also has a light and dark treasure tree. Light and dark treasure tree? Ning Cheng asked in doubt. Tang Hua quickly nodded. Yes, the light and dark treasure tree is a natural treasure tree from the origin of our universe. That tree contains the endless aura of the laws of darkness and light. According to the rumors, as long as one obtains that tree, they would become the strongest person in this part of the world. Since there is such a good thing, why doesn't anyone touch it? Ning Cheng looked at Tang Hua and felt a little puzzled. Tang Hua explained, because that place is called the heart of light and dark. No matter how strong a person is, once they enter the heart of light and dark, they would have very little chance of coming back. However, the soul-gathering immortal lotus is not in the depths of the heart of light and dark, but at the edge. As long as you don't go too deep, there would not be any problems. The few soul-gathering immortal lotuses that appeared in the radiant sacred domain came from the edge of the heart of light and dark. Do you still have it? Ning Cheng felt slightly moved. If he could find the soul-gathering immortal lotus in the heart of light and dark, he could choose the innate iron essence, or even the light origin aura or the light origin scroll. Just as Tang Hua said, every opportunity in this place was something that no one could dream of. Tang Hua shook her head. That was many years ago. Whether it still exists or not, we have to go and see it to know. In other words, Tang Hua was not sure if the soul-gathering immortal lotus existed in the heart of light and dark. Ning Cheng felt a bit of pity in his heart, but he did not hesitate to put the key into the crystal cabinet of the soul-gathering immortal lotus. This was related to Lu Dongce's corporeal body, and he did not want to bet on it. He could only enter this place once. If he could not find the soul-gathering immortal lotus in the heart of light and dark, Lu Dongce would lose this opportunity. The treasures in the radiant treasury were indeed tempting, but no matter how tempting it was not as precious as friendship. Lu Dongce could even disregard his life for him, so it was not a big deal for him to waste a small opportunity. Seeing Ning Cheng take away the soul-gathering immortal lotus, Tang Hua sighed in her heart. Ning Cheng was probably the only one who chose the soul-gathering immortal lotus from the radiant treasury. Ning Cheng's choice, in her opinion, was stupid, but it also made her recognize Ning Cheng's character even more. A person who could give up such a precious opportunity for a friend, in any case, was worthy of her respect. It's your turn to choose. After Ning Cheng put away the soul-gathering immortal lotus, he put the remaining 2 keys in Tang Hua's hands. Chapter 1425. When she held the key in her hand, Tang Hua's hand trembled. Finally, it was her turn to choose. There were so many treasures here that her eyes were about to blur. After getting the key, Tang Hua's first choice was naturally the half-innate treasure car. This kind of thing simply couldn't be measured by its value. Even the strongest refiner wouldn't be able to refine a half-innate treasure carriage. Big Brother Ning, what do you think I should choose for the second item? Although Tang Hua really wanted the radiant scroll in her heart, she still wanted to hear Ning Cheng's opinion. In fact, Ning Cheng knew that Tang Hua had taken a fancy to the radiant scroll. If it were up to him, he would have suggested that Tang Hua choose the heaven-opening iron essence. If he chose the heaven-splitting mother metal, the Dharma treasure he refined would be even stronger than a Khanate Dharma treasure. Not only could this kind of magic treasure upgrade itself, but it would also automatically fuse with the user's Taoist aura after following the user for a long time. The only worry was that there weren't many refiners who could use the heaven-opening iron essence to refine magic weapons, and he just happened to be one of them. Of course, there was a reason why Tang Hua chose the Light Source Scroll. The Radiant Origin Scroll was a cultivation technique that originated from the universe. It was much stronger than ordinary cultivation techniques. Choosing this cultivation method meant that one could step onto a higher level. If you have a top-notch cultivation technique, I suggest you choose the heaven-splitting Iron Mother. If you do not have a top-notch cultivation method, then I suggest that you choose the Radiant Origin Scroll. Ning Cheng considered it for a moment before giving his own advice. You mean the heaven-splitting Mother Iron? Tang Hua did not know anything about the heaven-opening Mother Iron. After hearing Ning Cheng's words, she asked in surprise. Ning Cheng pointed to a crystal cabinet not far away and spoke. This is the heaven-opening Mother Iron. It is the best material for crafting artifacts. There is no other. I choose the Mother of Creation Iron, Tang Hua said without hesitation. She didn't recognize the heaven-splitting Mother Iron, but that didn't mean she hadn't heard of it. This was also a peerless treasure. Now that he had a chance to see the Mother Metal of Creation, he would regret it if he did not choose it. After saying that, she directly placed the key into the crystal cabinet of the heaven-opening Mother Iron. Then, she took out the heaven-opening Mother Iron, placed several restrictions on it, and placed it into her ring. The Tang family's cultivation technique was not bad. It was one of the top cultivation techniques in the entire Radiant Holy region. Since that was the case, why would she give up on the heaven-splitting Mother Iron and choose a cultivation technique? Seeing Tang Hua make her choice, Ning Cheng spoke up. I will give you a suggestion. After you go out, it would be best for you to hand over the half-Xiantian treasure carriage to your grandfather Tang Shi for safekeeping. You will only be able to own such a half-innate treasure carriage after you create a world. As for the heaven-splitting Mother Iron, don't tell anyone about it. Otherwise, it won't do you any good. Many thanks for Big Brother Ning's reminder, but I have already selected 2 treasures from the treasure house. If that is the case, then I am still missing one. Tang Hua knew that what Ning Cheng had said was right, but she still felt helpless about it. The heaven-splitting Mother Iron had to be exposed. Ning Cheng showed a smile. Many thanks for taking me into the treasure house, but there is nothing I can help you with. After you go out, just tell them that you and I both fancied a half-innate treasure carriage. Because you want this treasured carriage, you can give me the other 4 spots. This won't do. Those people are already jealous of you. If you say that you have obtained 4 things, then I am afraid that they would go crazy and then join forces to besiege you. Tang Hua felt grateful in her heart, but did not hesitate to reject Ning Cheng's proposal. Ning Cheng spoke up helplessly. It's all the same to me. Even if I don't get a single thing, after I go out, there would still be people who would try to attack me. So whether I get 3 or 4, my situation would not change. Tang Hua was not a stupid person. She understood Ning Cheng's words. She knew that it would not make any difference to Ning Cheng, but it would make a huge difference to her. Many thanks, Big Brother Ning. Tang Hua will definitely repay you in the future. Tang Hua bowed and thanked Ning Cheng. Whether it was the same for Ning Cheng or not, Ning Cheng was helping her. Ning Cheng waved his hand and spoke, "Since we have already selected the things, let's go out. Big brother Ning, you can rest assured that if Shi and Ju Jin decide to deal with you, I will definitely ask my grandfather to help." Tang Hua felt grateful towards Ning Cheng in her heart, and felt that the Tang clan should help Ning Cheng a little. Ning Cheng spoke up, "There is no need for help. As long as your grandfather does not act against me, I will be happy." "How is that possible? You have helped me so much. If not for you, I would not have been able to enter the treasure house, let alone choose these two peerless treasures." Tang Hua spoke up in a straightforward manner. Ning Cheng did not explain. Don't look at Tang Hua's age of cultivation compared to him. However, he had definitely experienced a lot more things compared to Tang Hua. Tang Hua might not understand these things, but he could see it clearly. Zhong Jing, who had been waiting impatiently for a long time, finally saw Ning Cheng and Tang Hua slowly walk out. He did not even have the time to greet Yi Ba, who was standing beside him, as he quickened his pace and rushed towards the Radiant Treasure House. According to his discussion with the Yi clan, he could choose one of the materials. Moreover, he had to choose first. Yi Ba's face turned gloomy, but he still followed. "I wonder what kind of treasure Grandmaster Ning has chosen?" A young man standing beside Grandmaster Laksa looked at Ning Cheng and asked with a smile. Tang Hua quickly introduced, "Big brother Ning, this is Ju Sheng from the Sacred Master Clan." Ning Cheng nodded and said to Ju Sheng, "Whatever material I choose, that's my business. It shouldn't have much to do with you." Ju Sheng's face remained calm, but he showed a sarcastic smile and did not speak again. Ning Cheng's attitude was within his expectations. After all, Ning Cheng did not even bother to pay attention to Yi Ba. He believed that when Ning Cheng came out, he would definitely understand that there was a price to pay for being arrogant here. "Do I have to wait for all 10 people to choose before I can leave?" Ning Cheng asked Tang Hua. Tang Hua shook her head, "No need, we can leave at any time." "In that case, I'll be leaving first. Do you want to come out with me?" Ning Cheng naturally would not wait for others. What he needed to do now was to leave this place, and then find a way to step into the third step. As long as he succeeded in creating the world, he would have a chance to leave the sacred domain river. "I'll go out with you." Tang Hua immediately spoke up. Ning Cheng had helped her a lot, so she naturally wanted to go out with Ning Cheng. At the very least, she had to say a few words for Ning Cheng. In the Radiant Treasury's main hall, as soon as Ning Cheng and Tang Hua came out, all eyes fell on the two of them. As for how Grandmaster Seed and Ju Sheng entered the Radiant Treasury, no one cared. The two of them stepped out of the Void Gate and landed in the Radiant Treasury's main hall. Tang Shi immediately greeted them. What's inside the treasury?" Not only Tang Shi, but the rest of the people also followed. Everyone's eyes fell on Ning Cheng and Tang Hua. Although Ju Jin, Yu Shi and the others were ready to act against Ning Cheng, they still needed to understand the situation. Especially Ju Jin, he wanted to know what was inside the treasury. This was the second time the Radiant Treasury had opened. According to legend, the first time it was opened by the powerhouse who established the Radiant Treasury. At that time, they were given a total of 5 chances to choose. At that time, equipment Dao was even more rudimentary, and most of the people who entered the Radiant Treasury chose Xiantian treasures. Of course, the Darkness Origin Bead and the Light Origin Bead also came out from the Radiant Treasury at that time. At that time, the primal chaos aura between heaven and earth was so dense that cultivation did not require any Dao fruits or treasures. Treasures containing primal chaos aura were not valued. Tang Hua hesitated for a moment before speaking. There are many cultivation methods inside, including the Light Scroll and the Darkness Scroll, as well as the Light and Darkness Origin auras. I chose a half-innate flying treasure carriage. Why did you only choose one? This question did not come from Tang Shi, but from another disciple from the Tang clan standing next to Tang Shi. Tang Hua spoke with some embarrassment, because this half-innate treasure carriage was the best in the Radiant Treasury. Brother Ning and I both took a fancy to this treasure carriage. As a result, in order to get this treasure carriage, I had to give up a spot. Originally, I had 2 chances, but because I gave up one, I only had 1 chance to choose. Tang Shi's face turned gloomy. So you entered the Radiant Treasury and only obtained a treasure carriage that was not even a Xiantian treasure? Tang Hua nodded. Yes, Grandpa, but this treasure carriage is really good. I intend to give it to Grandpa. Hearing Tang Hua's words, Tang Shi's face turned slightly better. He waved his hand towards Tang Hua. You step aside first. I want to ask this artifact crafting master you invited. Grandpa. Tang Hua quickly called out. Not waiting for Tang Hua to speak again, Tang Shi's face sank. I told you to step aside, why are you still not moving aside? Tang Hua had never seen her grandpa Tang Shi speak to her in such a harsh tone and attitude, causing her to suddenly freeze up. Not waiting for her to speak, a person from the Tang clan next to her pulled her to the side. Grandmaster Ning, my granddaughter is not sensible, are you also pretending to be ignorant? You are just a person who helped to choose, yet you dare to take away 4 things from the treasury. Do you think that I, Tang Shi, am easy to bully? As Tang Shi spoke, the killing power around his body condensed, tightly locking down the space around Ning Cheng. Tang Hua anxiously wanted to step forward to speak, but found that she was suppressed by a powerful aura, causing her to be unable to open her mouth. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile, and spoke without any care. Tang Shi, does that mean that even if your Tang clan did not invite me, could you still enter the top 10? Tang Shi, on hearing Ning Cheng's rhetorical question, suddenly froze. He knew what Ning Cheng meant. The top 10 had already come out. In fact, if the Tang clan did not invite Ning Cheng, not to mention the top 10, with 18 people participating in the selection, the Tang clan would not even be able to enter the top 15. If they could not enter the top 10, then it meant that they would not be able to obtain even a single treasure. Tang Shi gave a cold snort. How do you know that my Tang clan cannot enter the top 10? Maybe my Tang clan can also take the first place. Even if we do not take the first place, entering the top 3, we would still be able to obtain more than just one thing. This was completely unreasonable. Dealing with unreasonable people, Ning Cheng would never try to explain himself. He raised his hand and grasped, and the killing power formed by Tang Shi's domain, under this grasp, tore it apart like a rag. If you want to fight, then fight. There is no need to be long-winded. If Ning Cheng was afraid, then he would not have come to the Radiant Treasury today. Chapter 1426. You are called Ning Cheng? Ever since you came to the Radiant Sacred Region, Nong Shimu's cave abode has been destroyed, Nong Shirhua has gone missing, and the Leaf Dao Gate has been destroyed. So today, you must clearly explain where you come from. My radiant bright heavenly sect will never allow anyone to be a bandit. Zhu Jin, on seeing Ning Cheng break through Tang Shi's killing force domain, took a step forward and formed a pincer attack with Tang Shi. Yoshi, who had long wanted to step forward, on seeing that Zhu Jin and Tang Shi had already shed all pretense of cordiality, also did not hesitate to stand in front of Ning Cheng. The rest of the people in the Bright Light Treasury's main hall immediately stepped aside. This kind of excuse obviously meant that they wanted to kill Ning Cheng, this outsider, and snatch the things on Ning Cheng. If there were benefits, someone would naturally go up. Now that the benefits were being split between the Zhu Jin, Tang Shi, and Yoshi families, naturally no one would be so foolish to stand out and help. Zhu Jin didn't want to find anyone else to help. With the 3 of them, Ning Cheng, who hadn't even reached the 3rd step, would be powerless no matter how strong he was. Ning Cheng didn't feel like talking at all. With a wave of his hand, the Good Fortune Divine Spear appeared in his hand. The moment the Divine Spear of Fortune appeared, the eyes of those who knew their stuff lit up. There were more than a dozen Realm Coalescence powerhouses here. Ning Cheng's Good Fortune Spirit Spear had yet to complete its qualitative transformation. Therefore, they naturally could see that the Good Fortune Spirit Spear was extraordinary with just a glance. If you want to fight, then fight. Don't shamelessly find excuses. Ning Cheng's Good Fortune Spirit Spear hadn't even made a move yet, but the powerful spear Intent Dao Charm condensed into a substantial killing intent space. Those with lower cultivation bases in the distance subconsciously took another step back. He had indeed destroyed Leaf's Dao Gate. Not only had he destroyed Leaf's Dao Gate, but he had also destroyed half of Tseng Leif's body. Tseng Leifu probably wouldn't show up again in a few tens of thousands of years. As for Nong Shimu's immortal cave, Ning Cheng suspected that it was Zhu Jin's doing. Zhu Huayang was Zhu Jin's elder brother. Who knew if there was any tacit understanding between them? Wait! To everyone's surprise, someone actually stood up and called for a stop. The one who stood out was a man of medium build and looked extremely ordinary. If it weren't for the fact that this person's eyebrows were extremely faint, it would be very difficult to notice him in the crowd. But when Ning Cheng saw this person come forward, his eyes slightly jumped up. He was not afraid of Zhu Jin, Tang Shi, and Yu Shi. He had already calculated his escape route. As long as the three of them attacked, he would choose Yu Shi as his breakthrough point and force him to retreat. There were a few reasons why he wanted to beat Yu Shi up. First, Yu Shi had a huge grudge against him, and he was blocking the space in front of him. The second was to look at Tang Hua's face and spare Tang Shi, this old man. The third was naturally Zhu Jin, who was the strongest amongst the three. Even if the three of them had cultivations at the Convergence realm, Ning Cheng could still make out Zhu Jin's strength with just a glance. Moreover, Ning Cheng was not aware of this seemingly ordinary-looking man in the crowd, but at this time when he stood out, Ning Cheng immediately felt the pressure. This person's cultivation was actually the strongest here, so strong that even he might not be a match for him. Seeing this man stand out, Zhu Jin and company frowned, but they did not say a word, nor did they attack. The onlookers knew very well that once this person came out, the competition would become even more intense. Grandmaster Ning, you shouldn't know me, so let me introduce myself. I am Yi Wenmao, from the Radiant Sacred Domain's Yi Clan Sacred Sect. The man said with cupped fists with a smile. Ning Cheng instantly understood that this person was the leader of the Radiant Sacred Domain's 10 Dao monarchs, Yi Wenmao. He was also the strongest among the 10 Dao monarchs of the Radiant Sacred Domain. Even Zhu Jin was not his match. It was no wonder that Zhu Jin had to give him face. Ning Cheng did not speak. He knew that Yi Wenmao did not stand out to help him. The main reason was that this fellow wanted to get a piece of the pie. Yi Wenmao should know that once Zhu Jin and the other two killed him, the items would be divided. Then Yi Wenmao would have nothing to do with it. Seeing that Ning Cheng did not show any expression of gratitude, Yi Wenmao did not mind. Everyone knew his motive, so there was no need to hide it. Grandmaster Ning, Brother Shimu and I are like brothers. If you were the one who touched Brother Shimu's cave abode, then I, Yi Wenmao, will never let this matter rest. When he said the last sentence, Yi Wenmao's face turned solemn and slightly angry. Ning Cheng sighed. Yi Wenmao, if you want to spread your legs, then go ahead. No one is in the mood to despise you. Can you keep that memorial arch of yours in your Yi Clan Sacred Sect? Don't disgust people, okay? Saying this sentence, Ning Cheng's imposing aura soared even more, as ripples of spear intent surged out one after another, as he spoke in a clear voice. Senior Shimu's immortal cave has been destroyed for such a long time, yet no one has come forward to speak. Now that I just came out of the treasury, all sorts of stinky bugs have come forward, claiming to seek justice for Senior Shimu. Don't you have any shame? Today, I, Ning Cheng, will stand here and say that the destruction of Senior Shimu's cave abode had nothing to do with me. I was the one who destroyed Zuefu's Dao Gate, and I was the one who destroyed Zuefu's body when he came looking for me. If you want to snatch Ning Cheng's things, then feel free to come. In the future, I will pay you a visit one by one. Ning Cheng's words were imposing. After saying this, he took a step forward. The divine spear of fortune swept up layers of killing intent as it shot towards Yoshi. At this moment, Ning Cheng was well aware of his situation. If the four of them besieged him, he would definitely not be their match. What worried him the most was that someone would come forward to fish in troubled waters. He said these words to prevent those who wanted to fish in troubled waters from coming forward. As long as he rushed out of the Radiant Treasury's main hall today, no one would be able to do anything to him. The divine spear of fortune's spear pattern was like a wave composed of the hardest material, blasting towards Yoshi. This was the spirit technique Ning Cheng comprehended in the Milky Way, heaven waves rolling. Even if this spirit technique was not very mature, It was the most suitable to deal with Yoshi at this time. If not for the other 3 people by his side, Ning Cheng would have used Traceless Collapse to deal with Yoshi. Unfortunately, he was not facing Yoshi alone. Hearing Ning Cheng say that he destroyed Tseng Laifu's body, Yoshi's heart instinctively trembled. Many people thought that as one of the top 10 Dao monarchs, he should be stronger than the rising star Tseng Laifu. Only he knew in his heart that his strength should not be as good as Tseng Laifu. Even Tseng Laifu's body was destroyed by Ning Cheng. Now that Ning Cheng attacked him with all his strength, what could he do? Even if he desperately tried to block Ning Cheng, what good would it do him? If he went all out, the benefits would belong to the other 3. Feeling fear in his heart, Yoshi subconsciously rolled up his domain and flashed past Ning Cheng's heaven waves rolling. The endless and violent heaven waves Dao Charm directly crushed through Yoshi's domain, leaving nothing in front of Ning Cheng. Although a few people could also take action, this matter had nothing to do with them. Plus, Ning Cheng had just said that he destroyed Tseng Laifu's body. Who would not want to block Ning Cheng's path? Ning Cheng secretly rejoiced in his heart. In fact, although his heaven waves looked powerful, it was not fully formed. Because he had not fully comprehended this spirit technique before leaving the Milky Way in a hurry. He used this spirit technique mainly to scare Yoshi. His energy was not on Yoshi, but on the 3 people behind him. Almost at the same time Ning Cheng scared off Yoshi, Zhu Jin and Tang Shi attacked at the same time. 2 violent Dao Charm auras swept towards Ning Cheng from the left and right. At this time, even if Ning Cheng wanted to escape, he had to first block these 2 violent attacks. Otherwise, he would most likely end up the same as Tseng Laifu, with his body destroyed. Ning Cheng raised his hand and tore through the void in the hall. At the same time, he punched out. Boom 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 boom. The violent aura exploded in the Radiance Treasury's hall, and the many restrictions in the Radiance Treasury's hall shattered under this violent aura. Ning Cheng immediately felt a huge backlash of power, but after feeling this power, Ning Cheng did not feel surprised, but instead felt happy. This was the complete opposite of what he had expected. Naturally, he did not think about the reason. Instead, he charged into the void that he had torn open without hesitation and disappeared under the backlash of this power. No one chased after Ning Cheng, causing Tang Shi's expression to turn ugly. Not only did Tang Shi's expression turn ugly, but even Zhu Jin's expression turned ugly. If Yi Wen Mao hadn't attacked in the chaos, Ning Cheng would never have had the chance to tear through the void and escape. Since the 2 of them attacked Ning Cheng's only chance was to turn back and defend. Otherwise, his body would shatter and his essence spirit would escape. With Yi Wen Mao's strength, how could he make such a low-level mistake? The only explanation for this was that Yi Wen Mao had deliberately helped Ning Cheng instead of helping him. Yi Wen Mao naturally didn't let Ning Cheng escape out of kindness. He wanted to kill Ning Cheng alone and snatch away the things on Ning Cheng. Among the experts in the Radiant Sacred Domain, who didn't know that Yi Wen Mao not only had the best strength but also the best tracking methods? As long as Yi Wen Mao glanced at someone, even if they tried to escape, they would never be able to escape from Yi Wen Mao's palm. In other words, this fellow wanted to eat everything for himself. Yi Wen Mao showed an ashamed expression and said apologetically, "I didn't cooperate well just now. This person escaped, and I have some responsibility. Brother Zhu and Brother Shi, rest assured, I will definitely catch this person and make up for my mistakes. I might not be good at anything else, but tracking isn't a problem for me. As long as this person doesn't walk out of this side of the universe, he will die." Zhu Jin's expression returned to normal. Even if he felt unhappy, he couldn't fight with Yi Wen Mao. After Yi Wen Mao finished speaking, he smiled slightly. "Then I'll have to trouble Dao Lord Yi. I don't know where this person came from, but he can even tear the void of the Radiance Treasury's main hall. He's simply too strong." When Zhu Jin said this, the expressions of many people in the hall changed slightly. Zhu Jin's words were indeed not nonsense. The void of the Radiance Treasury's main hall was publicly acknowledged to be powerful, but there really wasn't anyone who could tear the void of the Radiance Treasury's main hall. To tear the void here, one not only needed a powerful Grand Dao, but also an astonishing array Dao. Yi Wen Mao also spoke with a stern expression. "That's right. I will chase after this person now. I can't let this person continue to cause trouble in my radiant sky. Sacred Master, Brother Yu, Brother Shi, please rest assured. Once I catch this person, I will immediately bring him back. No one thought that Yi Wenmao couldn't catch Ning Cheng, nor did anyone think that he would bring Ning Cheng back. Yi Wenmao was a smiling tiger, but he always hid a dagger behind his smile. Chapter 1427. Although Zhu Jin said that Ning Cheng tore open the void of the Radiant Treasury's main hall, Ning Cheng knew that what he tore open was not the void of the Radiant Treasury, but the void restrictions of the Radiant Treasury's main hall. So when Ning Cheng rushed into the void he tore open, he still appeared within the range of the Radiant Sacred Domain. However, Ning Cheng felt relieved. What he was most worried about was that before he could tear open the Radiant Storehouse's array formation restrictions, he would end up trapped by someone, and then activate the Radiant Storehouse's grand array. This was the worst-case scenario. Once it happened, he would have no other choice but to fight it head-on. The worst-case scenario had clearly not happened. It seemed like his strength had improved quite a lot after he reached the perfected Dao integration realm. Zhu Jin and Tang Shi, on the other hand, did not live up to their reputations. Even though his punch contained an order destruction's sacred art, it only served to block the attack. His backup move was the order-breaking finger, but he didn't expect that he would be able to escape without using it. Ning Cheng immediately brought out the Starry Sky Wheel. But just when he was about to activate the Starry Sky Wheel to leave, his heart suddenly skipped a beat. This isn't right. Even if Zhu Jin and Tang Shi joined hands, they shouldn't have been stopped by a single punch. Ning Cheng immediately thought of Yi Wenmao, the strongest of the 10 Dao monarchs. Even if Zhu Jin and Tang Shi didn't make use of the opportunity to make him stay, Yi Wenmao wouldn't have made such a mistake. Didn't Yi Wenmao stand out at that time because he was afraid that Zhu Jin and Tang Shi would snatch away his things and he would have nothing to do with it? Since that was the case, how could a powerhouse like Yi Wenmao not make a move and just watch him escape? There was only one explanation, and that was that Yi Wenmao had also made a move. Yi Wenmao's move wasn't to keep him, but to send him away. The more Ning Cheng thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible. In order to escape with all his strength, he had condensed his spiritual consciousness into a domain to protect a radius of 3 feet around him. He did not extend it any further, to observe what happened between Yi Wenmao, Zhu Jin, and Tang Shi. But why would Yi Wenmao help him escape? No matter how he thought about it, it was impossible. If not for Yi Wenmao, Ning Cheng would not have been able to understand how he managed to block Zhu Jin and Tang Shi's attacks with a single punch. Unless Ning Cheng was shocked in his heart, unless Yi Wenmao had the confidence to find him. In just a breath's time, Ning Cheng was sure that if Yi Wenmao really acted to stop Zhu Jin and Tang Shi, then he would definitely be able to track him. How could Yi Wenmao be able to track him with 100% certainty? It was very likely that she had left a mark on his body. As Ning Cheng thought of this, he was even more certain in his heart. He had to leave immediately. If he didn't know that Yi Wenmao had left a mark on him, then he definitely wouldn't be Yi Wenmao's opponent. Initially, Ning Cheng planned to take away the 5-colored star splitter bow before leaving. But at this moment, he didn't hesitate to call out Chasing Bull and let Chasing Bull control the Starry Sky Wheel to rush out of the Radiant Sacred Domain as fast as possible. The 5-colored star splitter bow could be picked up at any time. Chasing Bull controlled the Starry Sky Wheel, while Ning Cheng himself entered the mysterious yellow bead. No matter how powerful Yi Wenmao was, he could not sense the imprint inside the mysterious yellow bead. In the mysterious yellow bead, he could slowly search for the location of the imprint, as well as when Yi Wenmao had placed this imprint on it. Ning Cheng's judgment wasn't wrong. Less than 10 breaths after Chasing Bull controlled the Starry Sky Wheel to leave, Yi Wenmao landed at the place where Ning Cheng had stood. Not to mention that he had placed a mark on Ning Cheng. Even if he hadn't placed a mark on Ning Cheng, as long as he stared at someone, they wouldn't be able to escape his tracking. His innate ability was to sense Dao charm auras. As long as you were still in this part of the universe, your Dao charm would always exist. As long as one's Dao charm existed, Yi Wenmao could find it. Therefore, as long as he stared at someone, they wouldn't be able to escape his grasp. Before Mao landed, he had a faint smile on his face. It was a smile of confidence and control. When he landed on the ground, his expression instantly changed. His imprint had stayed here for a while before disappearing without a trace. Not only that, but he couldn't feel any Dao Charm aura from Ning Cheng within the range of his spiritual consciousness. The Dao Charm, the smell, and all the auras related to Ning Cheng disappeared without a trace. How was this possible? Mao clenched his fists in disbelief. He even squeezed out water from the air. If he really let Ning Cheng escape, then he would truly be an idiot among idiots. Defending Zhu Jin, Tang Shi, and Yu Shi just to let a bastard who scolded him escape? If such a thing happened to him, Mao, then he would have become the biggest joke in the world. Mao forcibly calmed his mind, and his spiritual consciousness spread out endlessly. Even his innate spirit techniques spread out endlessly. After a full hour, Mao retracted his spiritual consciousness and innate spirit techniques with a livid face. He had truly lost track of Ning Cheng. This was simply a mockery of him. Not only did he not get to eat the fish, but he also ended up with a fishy smell. No wonder this person could enter the treasure house and obtain first place. After destroying Lei Fu's Dao Gate and shattering Tseng Lei Fu's flesh, he could even scare away Yu Shi. Sure enough, this person was a ruthless character. But no matter how ruthless he was, as long as he, Mao, kept his eyes on him, he wouldn't be able to escape. Unless he really left this part of the universe. Leaving this part of the universe in such a short time was simply impossible. If he really had such an ability, he wouldn't have needed to scare away Yu Shi. If he didn't leave this part of the universe, then how could he, Mao, lose track of his aura? Could it be that this foreign cultivator called Ning Cheng had a world on him that his spiritual consciousness and spirit techniques couldn't detect? Was this world just like the universe, and he couldn't sense any aura from it? It wasn't that such a world didn't exist, but it was the primal chaos world, which was the rumored good fortune world. Did Ning Cheng have such a thing? Mao was shocked by his own thoughts, and he became even more certain that Ning Cheng had a good fortune world on him. At this moment, Mao no longer felt lost or regretful. Instead, he felt extremely excited. The Dao Charm aura on Ning Cheng indicated that he most likely wasn't someone from the light and dark cosmos. If Ning Cheng really had a good fortune world on him, then it would explain how Ning Cheng came from another universe. Mao no longer cared about what Zhu Jin and the others thought of him. Even if he had to turn the light and dark cosmos upside down, he would catch Ning Cheng. Unless Ning Cheng never came out of his good fortune world. As long as he came out, he would be able to detect it immediately. Ning Cheng gave Chasing Bull the direction of the heart of light and dark. He guessed that Mao wouldn't notice the starry sky wheel controlled by Chasing Bull. Therefore, when Mao came out, he would definitely try to find his location. By the time Mao determined that he couldn't find him, Chasing Bull had already controlled the starry sky wheel and left. In fact, Ning Cheng's judgment wasn't wrong. Mao really wanted to track his location the moment he came out and didn't care about the starry sky wheel. At this moment, Ning Cheng was searching for the imprint on his body in the mysterious yellow bead. Mao was a peak realm merging expert. Once he placed an imprint, it would be extremely subtle. After a full 2 hours, Ning Cheng finally found the imprint Mao left behind. The location of this imprint made Ning Cheng feel even more afraid of Mao. He had seen countless ways to make imprints, and he had even made imprints himself. But he had never seen anyone make an imprint on the Dao Charm around their body. How powerful did it take? Mao's imprint didn't appear on his body, but on the Dao Charm around him. His protective Dao Charm had fused with the surrounding laws of darkness, and Mao had attached his imprint to the laws of heaven and earth. When his protective Dao Charm fused with the surrounding laws of heaven and earth, the imprint naturally followed him. What a powerful method! Ning Cheng wasn't in a hurry to remove the imprint. Instead, he constantly disintegrated the imprint's aura and tried to understand how it was done. This imprint method might not be unprecedented, but it was definitely a first-rate spirit technique. Even if someone could think of it, they might not be able to do it. Originally, Ning Cheng planned to melt the imprint as soon as he found it. But now he wasn't in a hurry. Instead, he started to learn how to attach the imprint. This imprint method of attaching the laws of heaven and earth was one of the 3 spirit techniques of the E-Sacred sect. The people of the E-Sacred sect never worried that someone would learn this method from the imprint they left behind. After all, it was impossible. If Yi Wenmao said this in front of Ning Cheng would definitely say that it was because he didn't meet him. After Ning Cheng gained control of the laws of darkness, he felt like a fish in water. In just a month, Ning Cheng gained a preliminary understanding of Yi Wenmao's imprint method. Rather than calling it a spirit technique, it was better to say that it was a cultivation level that had reached the pinnacle of the laws of heaven and earth. Ning Cheng controlled the laws of darkness and could use the laws of darkness to fuse the imprint with the laws of heaven and earth just like Yi Wenmao. Then he could attach it to the person he wanted to track. Ning Cheng also guessed that Yi Wenmao had left the imprint when he first arrived at the Light Vaults Hall. At that time, he was just a nobody. Yi Wenmao did not let a nobody like him go, which showed how cautious he was. At the same time, it also reflected how much he coveted the treasures in the vault. From the looks of it, even if Master Seed had negotiated with Yi Wenmao and obtained the Chaos Stone, he would not be able to escape Yi Wenmao's schemes. It was unlikely that Yi Wenmao would let this thing fall into the hands of Master Seed. Unfortunately, Master Seed did not know that by entering the vault first, he had helped him avoid a disaster. After erasing the spiritual consciousness imprint on his body, Ning Cheng simply brought out the celestial river flame and the nameless sacred flame to burn all his clothes. He even destroyed his storage ring. When dealing with a cunning person like Yi Wenmao, one had to be wary of him at all times. After cleaning himself up, Ning Cheng did not rush out. Instead, Chasing Bull controlled the starry sky wheel to head towards the heart of light and darkness. He wanted to study the things he had obtained in the Light Vault. Since he was preparing to step into the 3rd step, he would not let go of anything that could help him reach the 3rd step. As long as he reached the 3rd step, he could return to the light sacred domain and take away the 5-colored star splitter bow. Chapter 1428. Ning Cheng took out the fist-sized gray stone for the 2nd time. Just as the gray stone appeared in Ning Cheng's palm, a majestic and vast primal chaos aura spread out from it. This majestic primal chaos aura merged with the heaven and earth aura of the mysterious yellow bead, but it did not seem out of place. Ning Cheng felt a mysterious aura of the Grand Tao, causing Ning Cheng to secretly marvel at it. He had no intention of comprehending the Grand Tao within this chaos stone. He had his own Great Tao. His Great Tao was also the origin Great Tao. It was not any weaker than the Chaos Great Tao in the stone. Ning Cheng couldn't help but wonder what else did this primal chaos stone contain besides the primal chaos origin Tao? Why did so many people in Radiant Heaven want this stone? As Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness slowly penetrated into the primal chaos stone, the primal chaos aura grew thicker and thicker. He didn't know when, but Ning Cheng had completely lost the clarity to explore this chaos stone. He had already sunk into the depths of this chaos stone. In the midst of the dazzling white light, Ning Cheng could not see anything. Other than the white light in front of him, there was only more white light. However, he could feel the vastness of the world and the vastness of the universe. A rumbling sound rang out beside him, as if a chaotic universe was slowly splitting apart. The blinding white in front of him suddenly turned pitch black. From white to black, nothing could be seen. However, the pitch black color was more vivid than the white color, and it had an aura of life. Within this darkness, Ning Cheng vaguely felt the aura of laws. A natural feeling welled up in Ning Cheng's heart. The origin of the laws of darkness was not darkness, but that dazzling white. Black and white were only separated by a thin line. This was the origin of the rules. The feeling of enlightenment that excited Ning Cheng had yet to fully take shape. Primal chaos aura slowly spread out from the crack in the chaotic universe, and the vast aura of the laws of heaven and earth also slowly condensed. Black and white alternated with each other, causing the colors in front of Ning Cheng to become rich. He saw the laws of heaven and earth condensing. He saw the universe slowly taking shape. He saw everything sprouting and growing just like the beginning of spring. After the law of heaven and earth condensed, vitality also slowly formed. Plants and living creatures began to appear. In addition to life, the chaos-verse also began to hear, breathe, and move. There were more emotions, joy, and sorrow, watching the world take shape with his own eyes, feeling the laws of heaven and earth taking shape with his own eyes, seeing all things condensed together. Ning Cheng felt as if all things in this world had gradually integrated into it. At this moment he was like a statue, without the slightest aura. Or perhaps, his entire spirit and aura had fused with the chaos stone in his hand. Cultivation was timeless, and this kind of enlightenment was also timeless. 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years. In the blink of an eye, 5,000 years had passed. The vast universe in front of Ning Cheng's eyes gradually took shape. He witnessed the formation of this universe with his own eyes. He saw the plants, the creatures struggling to survive in the universe, from birth to death, and then to extinction. He saw a blade of grass struggling to push away the stone that was crushing it, and he saw an elf-like deer trying to escape from the huge beast that was chasing after it. The grass pushed away the rocks and grew with great difficulty, but when the wind blew, it was once again pressed down by the rocks. Perhaps it had lost its initial intelligence and desire to live, and it finally rotted under the stone. After a few hundred years, another small grass grew under the stone. The elk escaped the pursuit of the giant beast, but it fell into the claws of another hungry wolf and was deprived of its life in despair. A feeling of being touched by life and hesitation for survival rose from the bottom of his heart. This feeling and hesitation made the tip of his nose sour, and he felt a kind of pity. How vast the universe was, how difficult it was to live. How majestic the universe was, how small life was. I can't let these humble lives disappear like this. I can't let these struggling creatures perish like this. Ning Cheng's heart began to struggle. He heard a deep call, a call that seemed to come from outside the world, but also from countless billions of years ago. Like ice water poured over his head, Ning Cheng suddenly woke up. The gray stone was still in his hand, and the stone still exuded a strong aura of primal chaos. He was still sitting inside the mysterious yellow bead, without any changes. His eyes were a little moist, and his heart was still fluctuating. After a long time, he took a long breath. He knew that these were not things he could intervene in. All things in the universe had life and death, origin and destruction. The heavenly Tao was natural, and it was difficult for all things to transcend. Even if it was him, he would eventually perish in this vast universe. An inexplicable sadness welled up in his heart, and he missed his family at this moment. Once upon a time, the willow trees were still growing. Today, I come to think of it, the rain and snow are falling. The journey is slow, the thirst and hunger are born. My heart is sad, but no one knows my sorrow. I pursue the great Tao, but in the end, I still can't escape the heavenly Tao and perish among all things. During the time I came out, how is my family? Those who know me, my heart is worried. Those who don't know me, what do I seek? Distant heavens. Who's this? Who caused me to become like this? This is caused by my pursuit of the great Tao. Go back, I must not waste my life here. After so many years of pursuit, do I really have to give up like this? Ning Cheng's heart surged with unwillingness. His eyes suddenly moved away from the gray primal chaos stone in his hand and looked into the distance of the mysterious yellow bead. The extinction of all things in the universe was caused by the heavenly Tao. If the heavenly Tao was in his hands, if the universe was created by him, if everything between heaven and earth was condensed by him, then who would dare to let him perish? Who would dare to let him perish? Who would dare to let Ning Cheng perish? The vague things that he and Nong Shirua had discussed about the third step became increasingly clear in front of Ning Cheng's eyes. He wanted to condense the laws of heaven and earth that belonged to him. He wanted these laws of heaven and earth to form a vast universe that belonged to him. I cultivate the great Tao of the laws of heaven and earth. I cultivate the mysterious yellow beads 5 elements origin Tao. I cultivate the mysterious yellow beads all things return to one. These are things that I comprehended, but they are not my own. I comprehended the great Tao between heaven and earth to obtain these things. I want to condense my own world, condense my own laws, no longer be bound by the original laws of heaven and earth, no longer be affected by the mysterious yellow formless. There is only one way. Severing Tao. Severing all the great Tao and all the laws that he comprehended. After I, Ning Cheng, sever my Tao, I can still condense my own great Tao and condense my own laws. At this moment, Ning Cheng saw a great Tao that belonged to him. He experienced the creation of the universe, the survival and extinction of all things. He experienced joy and sorrow, excitement and dullness. At this moment, he finally found the direction of the great Tao that belonged to him to condense the third step. He wanted to sever his Tao. He wanted to sever the 5 element laws, the ice wind thunder attributed laws, and the darkness attributed laws. Chasing Bull, let's not go to the heart of light and dark. Let's go to where we should go. Ning Cheng clenched the chaos stone and exuded an aura that looked down on the world. Chasing Bull didn't answer, but Ning Cheng suddenly sobered up. He was still in the mysterious yellow bead, but Chasing Bull controlled the starry sky wheel to head to the heart of light and dark 5,000 years ago. Over the years, he had been comprehending the chaos stone and had neglected this point for a while. Ning Cheng quickly left the mysterious yellow bead, but found that he was in a good immortal cave. As soon as he came out, Chasing Bull ran out and spoke, "Master, you're out of seclusion." Ning Cheng could see that Chasing Bull had built this cave. Moreover, Chasing Bull's strength had not only reached the Tao sculpting realm, but it had also improved. From the looks of it, Chasing Bull had cultivated very hard over the years. "Where is this?" Ning Cheng asked in doubt. Chasing Bull quickly spoke up, "Master, Little Bull has been traveling without rest for years and finally arrived at the periphery of the heart of light and dark. Little Bull saw that Master didn't come out of seclusion and didn't dare to disturb Master's cultivation. So I opened up a cave here and improved my cultivation over the years." "Good, you deserve praise." Ning Cheng patted Chasing Bull's head. Chasing Bull's body almost melted into sugar. For a long time, Ning Cheng's master had always scolded it, but he rarely gave such praise. It seemed that it had made great progress recently and even got praised by Ning Cheng. Little Bull obeyed Master's instructions and resolutely carried out Master's orders, one step at a time. "Okay, let's go to this place now." Ning Cheng interrupted Chasing Bull's long speech and opened the gray chaos stone in his hand. Although Ning Cheng had comprehended the universe opening technique from the gray chaos stone in his hand, he also felt a call from the stone. He vaguely felt that the stone was calling him to the place where he wanted to reach the third step of Tao confirming realm. There was no reason for this feeling, only an intuition. "Master, please instruct me." Little Bull promises to bring Master there quickly and steadily. While Chasing Bull was still exaggerating its speed, Ning Cheng gave out a soft cry. The place that resonated with the chaos gray stone in his hand was not far from here. Ning Cheng pointed to the west and asked, "Chasing Bull, is the heart of light and dark there?" Chasing Bull nodded quickly, "Yes, Master. This place is the best place to build a cave outside the heart of light and dark. The place that Master is pointing to is the heart of light and dark. But I've eavesdropped on a lot of people who came here over the years. The heart of light and dark can only be found on the periphery. Once you go in, it's basically the same as entering the sacred domain river. You can never come out again. Okay, let's go to the depths of the heart of light and dark." Ning Cheng spoke without hesitation. The chaos stone in his hand pointed to the heart of light and dark. First sacred domain of light, sacred master domain. Apart from the bustle when the light treasury opened thousands of years ago, it had been extremely calm in the past few thousand years. Yi Wenmao, who had never failed to catch up to Ning Cheng, was a rare occurrence in the radiant sacred domain. However, no one in the radiant sacred domain would believe Yi Wenmao's words. Everyone thought that Yi Wenmao had already caught up to Ning Cheng, but Ning Cheng didn't want to admit it. Yiwen Mao only apologized to Sacred Master Ju Jin, Tang Shi, and the others before going into seclusion. He also never explained to the people outside about him. On this day, Yiwen Mao suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes shone with excitement as he muttered to himself, "After so many years, you finally came out." Then, his whole body turned into a faint light and rushed out of the Sacred Master domain. Chapter 1429. Just as Tang Hua said, there were many cultivators wandering around the periphery of the heart of light and darkness. These people's cultivation levels were not very high. The highest among them was only at the Tao sculpting realm. When Ning Cheng's starry sky wheel passed over the heads of these people and entered the depths of the heart of light and dark, everyone who saw it shook their heads. Another person who was not afraid of death. Over the years, many people had entered the heart of light and darkness without fear of death. No matter how many people entered, none of them could come out. Ning Cheng stood in front of the starry sky wheel with his hands behind his back, while his spiritual consciousness swept through the surroundings. The heart of light and dark sounded very high-end, but in fact, it was a place where swamps and thorns were mixed together. There were indeed some good materials here, but Ning Cheng felt sure that this place did not have something like the soul-gathering immortal lotus. After so many years, with so many people wandering around the heart of light and darkness, it would be strange if there were still Luo Pa immortal lotuses. Fortunately, he had decisively chosen the soul-gathering immortal lotus in the light treasury. Otherwise, he really wouldn't know where to find such a thing. The heart of light and dark covered an extremely wide area, and Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could only reach a small part of it. Ning Cheng's cultivation did not improve even a little bit after spending 5,000 years inside the mysterious yellow bead. However, he hadn't spent the past 5,000 years in vain. Because of his understanding of the chaos stones, he had a better understanding of the changes in the heaven and earth laws. Even the slightest fluctuation would be caught by him. "Master, we'll reach the depths of the heart of light and darkness if we go any further. I heard that it's a very dangerous place." Chasing Bull, who controlled the starry sky wheel, spoke in a weak tone. It seemed that after living on the edge of the heart of light and dark for so many years, it had also learned to fear. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile and was just about to speak when his eyebrows suddenly pricked up, and he immediately sneered, "You really do have some skills. No wonder you dared to let me go." "Master, what's the matter?" Chasing Bull asked hurriedly. Ning Cheng then said to Chasing Bull, "Since you entered the mysterious yellow bead, someone is chasing after you." "Yes, Master." When Chasing Bull heard that someone had chased after them, how could it have any thoughts of staying outside? He could not wait to enter the mysterious yellow bead as soon as possible. These people from the Holy Realm are rotten to the core. They're actually cutting my flesh to make soup. If another freak like this appeared, the little bit of cultivation that this Lord Ox had painstakingly accumulated would also be destroyed. If its master couldn't beat them, it would be sending itself to death if it stayed outside. If its master could defeat it, then it didn't have to worry. After sending Chasing Bull into the mysterious yellow bead, Ning Cheng took control of the starry sky wheel. He didn't think of running away. He knew who was chasing after him. He had stayed in the mysterious yellow bead to perceive the primal chaos ash stone for 5,000 years, yet someone still managed to catch up to him. Besides Yiwen Mao, there was no one else. Since Yiwen Mao had the ability to search, he naturally wouldn't mind letting him go. However, at that time, Yiwen Mao did not think that he would have the mysterious yellow bead. After entering the mysterious yellow bead, he could not sense him anymore. 5,000 years later, when he came out of the mysterious yellow bead, Yiwen Mao once again sensed him. He had destroyed the imprint that Yiwen Mao had placed on him. The only way that Yiwen Mao could sense him was through his Tao runes. If it were 5,000 years ago, Ning Cheng would never have felt the subtle fluctuations of Tao charm aura around him. At this moment, as soon as Yiwen Mao sensed his Tao charm aura, Ning Cheng immediately sensed the fluctuations. The reason why Ning Qing did not intend to escape was because he knew that by the time Yi-Wen Mao reached the edge of the heart of light and dark, he would have already entered the depths of the heart of light and dark. Secondly, even if he did not enter the depths of the heart of light and dark, Yi-Wen Mao's cultivation might not be able to crush him. Even if he was not Yi-Wen Mao's opponent, Yi-Wen Mao would not be able to stop him if he wanted to escape. As for calling Chasing Bull into the mysterious yellow bead, it was not for Yi-Wen Mao, but because Ning Qing planned to step into the third step in the depths of the heart of light and dark. He actually went to the heart of light and dark? Yi-Wen Mao looked in the direction of the heart of light and dark in doubt and sped up. The heart of light and dark was located at the junction of the bright sky and the dark sky. It was the only place between the bright sky and the dark sky without the sacred domain river. Whether it was the people from the bright sky or the dark sky, everyone could go to the heart of light and dark sky. However, everyone knew about the dangers of the heart of light and dark. Over the years, there were very few people who could come out of the heart of light and dark unscathed. Even Yi-Wen Mao did not dare to enter the heart of light and dark rashly. Yi-Wen Mao did not think that Ning Qing would enter the heart of light and dark to die. Moreover, Ning Qing also understood the dangers of the heart of light and dark. In this case, there was only one reason why Ning Qing dared to enter the heart of light and dark. Ning Qing found a way to enter the heart of light and dark in the light treasury. Thinking of this, Yi-Wen Mao's heart became even more fervent. He seemed to have seen himself owning a good fortune treasure, entering the heart of light and dark and owning the light and dark treasure tree. Although Yi-Wen Mao's guess was not entirely correct, it was close to the truth. Ning Qing wanted to enter the heart of light and dark before because he heard that there was a light and dark treasure tree in the depths of the heart of light and dark. Later, after comprehending the Chaos Stone, he lost much interest in entering the heart of light and dark. What he wanted was to condense his own law world and step into the third step. However, the Chaos Stone also called out to the heart of light and dark. Half a month later, Ning Qing put away the starry sky wheel. In the depths of the heart of light and dark, Ning Qing's speed was also restricted. From time to time, a whirlpool of Dao charm appeared in the depths of the heart of light and dark. If not for Ning Qing, who was extremely sensitive to the fluctuations of the heaven and earth Dao, he might have already been sucked into the whirlpool of Dao charm. After a few more days, Ning Qing finally stopped. He finally understood why this place was called the heart of light and dark. The area in front of him was a heart-shaped domain. Half of the edge of the domain was dazzling white, while the other half was dark gray. He could capture the entire edge of the domain with his spiritual consciousness, but his spiritual consciousness couldn't penetrate the domain at all. Every time Ning Qing's spiritual consciousness tried to enter the heart of light and dark, a vast and majestic aura rolled over and swallowed his spiritual consciousness completely. After standing at the edge of the heart of light and dark for a long time, Ning Qing took a deep breath and stepped into the heart of light and dark. Kaka. Ning Qing had just stepped into the heart of light and dark area when a violent and powerful heaven and earth Dao charm rolled over. Just like when it swallowed Ning Qing's spiritual consciousness, it directly swept away part of the Dao charm around Ning Qing. Ning Qing felt his darkness Dao charm being swallowed up by this space. It was as if the laws of darkness he had comprehended over the years had been prepared for the depths of the heart of light and dark. The vast and majestic heaven and earth laws rolled over. The laws of light and the laws of darkness merged together, suppressing Ning Qing to the point where he couldn't move. Ning Qing was shocked. His spiritual consciousness was completely bound. At this moment, not to mention using his spiritual consciousness to observe the situation outside, he couldn't even capture the scene around him with his spiritual consciousness. However, this panic only lasted for a moment. Ning Qing quickly calmed down. He could still stretch out the 5 elemental attribute laws he originally controlled. The 5 elemental attribute laws gradually formed a protective domain around him, allowing him to regain his freedom. At this time, Ning Qing was finally able to clearly see where he was standing. Under his feet, there were countless grayish-white bones. These bones had obviously swallowed the Dao charm after coming in, which meant that they could only die. As for the outside of the heart of light and dark, not only could Ning Qing not see it with his spiritual consciousness, but he couldn't even see it with his eyes. In front of him, there was only a vast darkness. Perhaps it wasn't appropriate to describe this darkness as vast, but Ning Qing couldn't think of any other words to describe what he felt. It was vast, hazy, majestic, and vast. He felt as if he was standing on a boundless land, surrounded by endless majestic auras. Ning Qing simply closed his eyes and let out his spiritual consciousness again. He felt a primal aura similar to the one he sensed from the primal chaos gray stone. However, this primal aura was mixed with all kinds of mottled things. Ning Qing took a step forward, and the surrounding heaven and earth aura changed once again. The vast darkness from before had turned into a vast brightness, and the heaven and earth laws remained hazy and vast. Ning Qing opened his eyes. Apart from the space that could swallow the laws of light and darkness, there was still nothing around him. However, Ning Qing saw too many things at this time. That's right, this chaotic and vast land with nothing in it was the place where he could confirm his Tao. In this place, there was no root, no stem, no leaf, no glory. In this place, cutting Tao, condensing laws, transforming heaven and earth. In this place, all things were born and all things were formed. This is where I, Ning Qing, cut my Tao to create a world. Chapter 1430. As Ning Qing's Tao sense rose, the primal chaos gray stone in his hand suddenly burst open, and the chaotic aura of the universe's creation merged with the chaotic aura of the heart of light and darkness. Ning Qing once again fell into the state of perceiving the formation of the universe. Although Tao charms surrounded his body, there was no movement. An aura that couldn't integrate with the surrounding laws of heaven and earth, or even the Tao charm laws around him, formed out of thin air. This aura was incompatible with the surrounding heaven and earth Grand Tao, but it seemed to be more compatible with him than the heaven and earth Grand Tao. At first, this Tao charm aura was very weak, but Ning Qing seemed to attach great importance to it. As time passed, it slowly grew stronger. As this Tao charm grew stronger, the aura of Ning Qing's own perception was pushed away and surrounded Ning Qing more clearly. The metal-attributed Tao charm laws, which had originally merged with Ning Qing's Tao charm, were squeezed out by these Tao charm laws. Instead, they formed a clear origin aura around him. It was something that all cultivators yearned for. But at this moment, the unique Tao charm aura formed around Ning Qing's body turned into a Tao charm sharp blade that chopped down without hesitation. Ning Qing, who had his eyes closed, felt as if someone had cut off his skin and flesh with a knife, causing him to tremble uncontrollably. The metal-attributed Tao charm laws also trembled crazily at this moment, as if complaining of unfair treatment. But Ning Qing didn't respond. After the unique Tao charm aura cut through the metal-attributed Tao charm laws, it directly swallowed them up. After an unknown amount of time, Ning Qing could no longer feel the metal-attributed Tao charm laws around him. The metal-attributed Tao charm laws had been cut off. After the metal-attributed Tao charm laws were cut off, the Tao charm that Ning Qing had fused with himself became even more powerful and once again pushed away the wood-attributed Tao charm laws around Ning Qing. The wood-attributed origin Tao charm had just condensed into a substantial aura around Ning Qing when the Tao charm aura formed around him turned into a sharp blade and swallowed it. After cutting off the metal-attributed Tao charm aura, Ning Qing's own Tao charm aura grew even stronger and even formed a rudimentary form of laws. Cultivation knew no time, and cutting one's Tao was even more torturous. Time passed and years flew by. Ning Qing, who was in the depths of the heart of light and dark, was gradually wrapped in all kinds of Tao charm aura. Tao charm laws were constantly being cut down and devoured. His own Taoist aura was also condensing, forming a more solid nomological aura. This was a new law that did not exist between heaven and earth, nor did it exist within the universe. This was a law that Ning Qing had comprehended on his own. Yiwen Mao stood at the edge of the heart of light and darkness, staring at the depths of the heart of light and darkness in shock. He had been to this place before, and not just once. Although he could not observe the depths of the heart of light and darkness with his divine sense, he could feel that it was not violent. At this moment, Ewan Mao could clearly feel the berserk power of the heart of light and darkness. At this moment, it seemed that all the laws of the heart of light and darkness had begun to shatter. These shattered laws were extremely chaotic. What did he do in the heart of light and darkness? Ewan Mao clenched his fist and muttered to himself. Unfortunately, he did not have the means to enter the heart of light and darkness. Should he go in or wait outside? Ewan Mao made up his mind in a very short time. He would wait outside first. Once the berserk aura in the depths of the heart of light and darkness weakened, he would immediately enter the heart of light and darkness. Ewan Mao never expected that he would wait for such a long time. After the berserk aura in the heart of light and darkness started to become berserk, it did not stop. Not only that, but the berserk aura also became more and more berserk. All kinds of Taoist aura roared, the sound of laws shattering, and even the power of heaven and earth trembling. Under such power, Ewan Mao did not retreat from the edge of the heart of light and darkness. As for entering the depths of the heart of light and darkness, he had long since put that idea aside. No matter how good the treasure was, he had to stay alive. Time passed, and in a blink of an eye, another 5,000 years had passed. Ewan Mao had already steeled his heart. Even if it took 500,000 years, he would still wait. The berserk aura in the depths of the heart of light and darkness seemed to slowly weaken. Ewan Mao came out of the cave mansion in surprise. When he saw the scene in the heart of light and darkness, he suddenly froze. He saw the indomitable light and darkness treasure tree, the beautiful rainbow in front of the light and darkness treasure tree, and he also saw. Time seemed to pass in the blink of an eye for Ning Cheng. He continued to cut down his Tao, condensed his own Tao charm, and condensed his own Tao charm into new laws. He also condensed the new laws into the universe. The 5 elements Tao charm laws that he had once comprehended had been cut off. The wind, thunder, and ice Tao charm laws that he had once comprehended had also been cut off. The darkness Tao charm laws that the heart of light and darkness had devoured as soon as he came in had also been cut off from his own Tao. The time Tao charm laws that he had once comprehended had also been cut off. The space Tao charm laws that he had once comprehended had also been cut off. As long as it was the Tao charm laws that he had once comprehended in the 5 elements universe, they had all been cut off without any attachment. It was as if he came here naked, and then knitted his own clothes in his nakedness. The Tao charm that he had condensed gradually grew after cutting off many of the laws of heaven and earth. From the initial Tao charm aura, it formed a new embryonic form of Tao charm laws. This new embryonic form of law was still growing and slowly condensing into a new world. It was a gray world. In this world, apart from Ning Cheng, there was only coldness and darkness. Time passed, and 5,000 years passed in a blink of an eye. The new laws gradually spread out in this world, forming light, darkness, the sky, the earth, and the rivers. The vegetation on the earth began to sprout, the breeze in the sky began to flow, and the waves in the rivers slowly rolled up. The colors of the gray world gradually became richer, and the silence was gradually replaced by noise. His own Tao charm laws also gradually overlapped with the world, and the laws split apart and decomposed into more laws of heaven and earth. Perhaps these laws of heaven and earth weren't called metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, ice, or light and darkness. But these laws of heaven and earth also gave birth to the colors of the world. Ning Cheng's eyes became moist again. This was his world. As long as he lived, his world would live. No one could interfere with the survival and destruction of his world. In his world, he was the master. In the first 5,000 years, he witnessed the formation of the chaotic universe above the chaos gray stone and the birth of various laws. After another 5,000 years, his own world formed, which was condensed by his own laws. Rumbling sounds exploded in the air, and black holes appeared in the depths of the heart of light and darkness. The heart of light and darkness seemed to be angry that someone dared to condense a new world in this universe that didn't belong to any heavenly Tao. Endless black holes swallowed Ning Cheng, but Ning Cheng didn't move at all. Or rather, he didn't need to move at all. His world was like a space that completely protected him. No wind, rain, thunder, or violence could move him in the slightest. Ning Cheng's eyes slowly opened, and everything around him quietened down. The heart of light and darkness, which was filled with chaotic aura, also calmed down. A rainbow appeared in front of him, and behind the rainbow, a giant tree that was half black and half white stood there. The giant tree exuded boundless vitality and transformed into the boundless Tao runes of the darkness and light laws. Ning Cheng knew that it was the light and darkness treasure tree of the heart of light and darkness. Ning Cheng raised his hand, and his world appeared behind his palm. My Ning City's realm condenses its own Tao charm. My Ning City's realm is not within the 5 elements, nor is it within light and darkness. My Ning City's realm controls only my Ning City. My Ning City's realm is not affected by the decline of heaven and earth and transcends beyond the universe. Today, my Ning City's realm has reached the 3rd step. Ning Cheng's clear voice spread throughout the depths of the heart of light and darkness. As Ning Cheng's voice fell, clear Tao charm laws surrounded Ning Cheng. The surrounding roars gradually quieted down, as if afraid of angering Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng raised his hand and pointed out with his finger. Spirit technique, order-breaking finger. Boom! A black hole appeared, and the entire heart of light and darkness's realm trembled. It was the same order-breaking finger, but it was no longer the same spirit technique as before. Even if heaven and earth fell into silence, even if the universe was destroyed, as long as his realm remained, his order-breaking finger would no longer be affected by the laws of heaven and earth in the outside universe. From now on, any of his nomological spirit techniques would no longer be affected by the outside universe. He had his own world, and his world was formed by the laws he condensed. Even if someone used the order-breaking finger on him, as long as his world remained, the order-breaking finger wouldn't affect him. Unless the other party controlled all the laws in his world, they would never be able to break his nomological spirit technique by breaking the laws. Ning Cheng stood with his hands behind his back. He had succeeded in creating his realm today. In the future, the stronger his realm became, the stronger he would become. Feeling himself fusing with the laws of the realm he created, Ning Cheng's heart was filled with anticipation. He also felt glad that he could escape from Xing Shi's hands several times. He had never thought that he would become so powerful after stepping into the creation realm. Even if Xing Shi didn't create her own realm like his, it would still far surpass ordinary pseudo-realms and fake realms. Ning Cheng's gaze swept out. Originally, he couldn't see through the periphery of the heart of light and darkness. But at this moment, he could clearly see Yiwen Mao. Yiwen Mao stood outside and stared at the light and darkness treasure tree in shock, as well as the rainbow in front of the light and darkness treasure tree. If Ning Cheng had seen this light and darkness treasure tree before he created his realm, he would have done everything he could to take away this treasure tree. But at this moment, Ning Cheng's gaze swept past the treasure tree. He didn't care about it at all. Instead, his gaze fell on the river behind the treasure tree. This was the Sacred Domain River. Although the Sacred Domain River here had ripples, it was undoubtedly the Sacred Domain River. Chapter 1431. In just a few breaths, the ripples on the surface of the river gradually shrank and looked like it was about to disappear. Ning Cheng dispelled the idea of going inside to investigate. He didn't have to enter the Sacred Domain River from here. The surface of the Sacred Domain River must have appeared due to the fluctuations of his realm creation. His current strength was many times stronger than when he was at the 2nd step. The stronger he became, the more Ning Cheng knew his shortcomings. In the vast universe, there were too many powerhouses. He could cut through the Tao creation realm and reach the 3rd step. How could he know if there were any powerhouses like him before him? As the surface of the light and dark universe, how could the Sacred Domain River be so simple? If he wanted to enter the Sacred Domain River, he would have to go through the place he had explored before. The light and darkness treasure tree gradually faded, and the rainbow also slowly dissipated. The heart of light and darkness seemed to have returned to its original appearance. Only Ningqing knew that he had devoured many heaven and earth laws here. When he first came in, the heart of light and darkness had devoured his darkness Tao charm. At this time, he had already devoured it hundreds of millions of times. It was time to go out. Ningqing didn't do anything to the light and darkness treasure tree. The light and darkness treasure tree belonged to the light and dark universe, so it was best for the light and dark universe to stay here. Ningqing might not have realized this before, but after his world formed, he realized how difficult it was to form a world. Maybe one day, his world would also give birth to a tree with the same heaven and earth laws. He naturally wouldn't let others take away this tree. What's more, after he reached the third step, the light and darkness treasure tree's usefulness to him had declined infinitely. After seeing the light and darkness treasure tree, Yiwen only paused for a few breaths before he could no longer hold back and stepped into the heart of light and darkness without hesitation. The light and darkness treasure tree didn't have much attraction to Ningqing at this time, but it was a treasure of heaven and earth for Yiwen. The moment Yiwen entered the heart of light and darkness, the light and darkness treasure tree no longer appeared in front of him. The chaotic laws around him constantly devoured the Tao charm around him, making it difficult for him to even take half a step. A sense of fear welled up in his heart. Even though he knew that the heart of light and darkness had a slim chance of survival, he still felt afraid when faced with such a terrifying scene. It was rumored that only one person could come out after entering the heart of light and darkness. That person was Nong Shimu. However, every time he asked Nong Shimu would just smile and not answer him directly. In his opinion, even if he was not as powerful as Nong Shimu, the difference would not be too great. Now that he was standing in the depths of the heart of light and darkness, the Tao runes and laws around him were constantly being devoured. Only then did he understand why almost none of those who entered the heart of light and darkness could come out. At the same time, he also knew how big the gap between him and Nongzim was. If he, Yiwen, couldn't find a way to solve the problem of his Tao charm being devoured, he would end up like the gray bones beneath his feet. Ningqing easily stepped out of the heart of light and dark. At the same time, he saw Yiwen enter the heart of light and dark. Ningqing shook his head. He was simply too lazy to care about Yiwen. Even if Yiwen cultivation was stronger than his before he reached the third step, it would be extremely difficult for him to come out after entering. As for him going in and adding fuel to the fire to kill Yiwen, Ningqing did not have such an idea. The depths of the heart of light and darkness looked very small from the outside, but in fact, it was extremely vast inside. Who knew how long it would take to find Yiwen? Besides, although Yiwen wanted the things on him, he had still helped him a little, so he should just let him fend for himself. Ningqing did not immediately leave this place, rather entered the mysterious yellow bead. Thousands of years had passed since he started creating worlds. Over the past few thousand years, Ningqing didn't know how chasing bulls cultivation had improved. Ningqing had just entered the mysterious yellow bead and hadn't even had the time to observe chasing bull's realm with his spiritual consciousness when his heart moved slightly. The underworld crow ghost Ratan King woke up. Since the underworld crow ghost Ratan King fell into a deep slumber, it hadn't woken up. Who would have thought that he would wake up at this moment? Master! As soon as the underworld crow ghost Ratan King woke up, it immediately sent out a thought in surprise. Ningqing could feel the joy from the underworld crow ghost Ratan King, but it was more concentrated on the light and dark treasure tree. It's just that after he entered the mysterious yellow bead, the underworld crow ghost Ratan King could no longer sense the light and darkness treasure tree. That's right, he's already at the Tao modeling realm. It looks like all these years have not been wasted in vain. Ningqing spoke up with appreciation. The cultivation of plant spirits was much more difficult, especially at high levels. Being able to sculpt one's Tao was an opportunity among opportunities. Ordinary plant spirits would be snatched away before they could even take shape. If this underworld crow ghost Ratan King wasn't by Ningqing's side, it wouldn't have been able to sculpt its Tao even if it took another 1,000 or 5,000 years. After the underworld crow ghost Rattan King reached Dao sculpting, it would definitely be able to transform. Sure enough, the next moment, the underworld crow ghost Rattan King, which was only a foot tall and had a hint of verdant grayness, fell to the ground. The underworld crow ghost Rattan King's transformation almost made Ning Cheng laugh out loud. This underworld crow ghost Rattan King's aesthetic sense was too poor. This head looked like a small square stool with 2 eyes and a mouth in the middle. Even if it wanted to transform, wouldn't it be a round head? This fellow. Fortunately, the verdant face indicated that it wasn't a human but a spiritual plant transformation. Master Little Bull is here. Congratulations to Master for achieving the Tao and controlling heaven and earth. Little Bull's cultivation has also improved under Master's brilliance. Ning Cheng didn't even need to look back to know that Chasing Bull had come over. Chasing Bull's strength had advanced from the Tao sculpting realm to the Tao birth realm. From the looks of it, cutting off the meat to stew soup had a great impact on it. It no longer slacked off in its cultivation. Hey, aren't you a little ghost Rattan? Why are you carrying a small stool? Chasing Bull came over while wagging its tail. After respectfully flattering Ning Cheng, it immediately saw the underworld crow ghost Rattan King. Chasing Bull didn't show much respect when speaking to the underworld crow ghost Rattan King. The underworld crow ghost Rattan King glared at Chasing Bull and thought, "You're the small stool. Don't look at you as a Tao birth realm cultivator. I'm just a Tao sculpting cultivator. If it weren't for Master's sake, I would have sucked dry this stupid bull. Master, I just felt the aura of a spiritual plant's origin." After the underworld crow ghost Rattan King glared at Chasing Bull, it immediately asked Ning Cheng about the light and darkness treasure tree. Ning Cheng waved his hand. That's the heaven and earth splitting tree of this universe. Not to mention that you can't get it now. Even if you could, you wouldn't have the ability to devour it. Or rather, I won't let you devour it. Sure enough, this fellow woke up because of the light and darkness treasure tree. Ning Cheng shook his head speechlessly. The light and darkness treasure tree had a much higher grade compared to the underworld crow ghost Rattan King. Even if he obtained the light and darkness treasure tree, he wouldn't let the underworld crow ghost Rattan King devour it. Yes, Master. The underworld crow ghost Rattan King lowered the small stool helplessly. Master. Just as Chasing Bull called out, Ning Cheng suddenly waved his hand, and his expression turned cautious. At the same time, he said, "Step aside." Before the underworld crow ghost Rattan King could understand what was going on, Chasing Bull pulled the underworld crow ghost Rattan King and said, "Small stool, hurry up and leave." Don't disturb Master's thoughts. The underworld crow ghost Rattan King, who wanted to quarrel with Chasing Bull, quickly shut up after seeing Ning Cheng's dignified expression and left with Chasing Bull. What that fellow said turned out to be true. Ning Cheng's gaze fell on the mysterious yellow bead space and he muttered to himself with a cold tone. Inside his mysterious yellow bead, there was a law that was slightly different from the surrounding laws. Before Ning Cheng stepped into the third step, or rather, before he condensed his own laws to reach the third step, he wouldn't have been able to see this difference. But now that he had condensed his own laws to create a world and stepped into the third step, he felt this law as soon as he entered the mysterious yellow bead. Outsiders wouldn't enter his mysterious yellow bead, but this heaven and earth law was different from the original laws. There was only one reason for it, the previous owner of the mysterious yellow bead. As for the reason, Ning Cheng guessed that it was the same as what the void voice in the slaughter world had told him. This heaven and earth law had guided the previous owner of the mysterious yellow bead to come here and turn Ning Cheng into a spirit of good fortune. Ning Cheng sneered and didn't touch the law at all. He wanted to see who this fellow was. You stay here and cultivate. I'll go to the radiant sacred domain first and then find a way back. Ning Cheng left Chasing Bull and the underworld crow ghost Rattan King before leaving the mysterious yellow bead. Chasing Bull had walked for many years to reach the periphery of the heart of light and darkness from the radiant sacred domain. But now, Ning Cheng had returned to the first sacred lord region of the radiant sacred domain from the heart of light and darkness in just a few days. This was the difference in strength, a qualitative difference. After stepping into the third step, He no longer controlled heaven and earth laws, but his own laws. Ning Cheng knew that he had just created a world, and the laws he condensed were still in their embryonic form. Once his laws became more complete, even if he was still in the creation realm, he was confident that he could step into the sacred Lord region from the heart of light and darkness in just half a day. Once he integrated his own world and stepped into the amalgamation realm, he might be able to reach the sacred Lord region from the heart of light and darkness in just a few steps. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept into the caves of sacred Lord Jujin and one of the 10 Dao monarchs, Yushi, without any fear. If someone slapped him on the left side of his face, he would immediately deliver the right side. It was not Ning Cheng's nature to not take revenge. He had come here to destroy the Yu clan's cave and then kill Yushi and Jujin. To Ning Cheng's regret, Yushi and Jujin were not in the cave. Not only were these two not here, but even Tang Shi was not here. If Tang Shi was here, Ning Cheng might not have killed him, but he would have taught this old thing a lesson. Unfortunately, he did not encounter any of them. Ning Cheng did not hesitate to step into the void and directly stepped on the heart of the Yu clan's defensive array formation. With Ning Cheng's current cultivation and understanding of the array Dao, just this step was enough to shatter the Yu clan's defensive array formation. Not only that, Ning Cheng once again punched out and destroyed Yushi's immortal cave. The people from the Yu clan could not even touch Ning Cheng's shadow. Although he would not start a massacre in the Yu clan, Ning Cheng did not show any mercy when he destroyed the Yu clan's defensive array and Yushi's cave. If Yushi was here, he would have killed him on the spot. Even if Jujin was not in the Sacred Lord Mansion, Ning Cheng would not let him off. After destroying the Sacred Lord Mansion's array formation, Ning Cheng also turned Jujin's Sacred Lord Mansion into ruins. I destroyed the Lei Fu Dao Gate. Aren't you a bird, Jujin? Today, I'll destroy your Sacred Lord Mansion again. I'm not afraid of you coming for me. I'm afraid that you won't come for me. After destroying these two places, Ning Cheng took out the jade talisman Nong Shirua gave him and prepared to recall the 5-colored star splitter bow. Chapter 1432. When Ning Cheng left unhurriedly, not to mention the Sacred Master Mansion and the Yu clan, even the entire Sacred Master region was alarmed. Someone had come to the Sacred Master region and destroyed the cave mansion of Yu Shi, one of the 10 great Dao monarchs. He had even destroyed the Sacred Master Mansion's grand array and cave mansion. This was a challenge to the entire radiant sacred sky. Countless experts came out of seclusion. It was simply inconceivable for such a thing to happen in the Sacred Master region. What was even more unbelievable was that no one had seen who destroyed the Sacred Master Mansion and the Yu clan. How could they fight the enemy if they didn't see it? According to the people of the Yu clan who saw this scene, they only saw a huge footprint. This footprint destroyed the Yu clan's grand array restriction. Fortunately, that expert didn't seem to have started a massacre. Otherwise, no one from the Yu clan would have survived. 8 of the 10 Dao monarchs of the Sacred Master region weren't around. The other 2 Dao monarchs immediately gathered outside the destroyed Sacred Master Mansion. At the same time, they sent the news to the other Dao monarchs, including Sacred Master Jujin and Yushi. This wasn't a trivial matter. If an expert from Darkness Sky came here and the Sacred Master region didn't even see the corner of his robe, the Sacred Master region would be in danger. Apart from the 10 great Dao monarchs, who else could stop such an expert? After the 2 Dao monarchs saw the ruins of the Sacred Master Mansion, they didn't chase after the enemy except to send the message. Perhaps the 2 of them knew that with their strength, even if they chased after the enemy, they would just be throwing away their lives. This is a peerless expert. I'm afraid he isn't any weaker than Brother E. A burly man with blue hair sighed. This person was one of the 10 great Dao monarchs of the Radiant Sacred Region, the patriarch of the True World Sacred Sect, Lei Sha. The man standing next to him had a pale face and was dressed like a Confucian scholar. He was also a realm integration expert. He was the patriarch of the Radiant Sacred Region Space Trade Association, Yinsen, one of the 10 great Dao monarchs. Yinsen frowned and didn't answer Lei Sha's words. Lei Sha continued, Brother Yin, I'm afraid this wasn't done by someone from Darkness Sky. Even if Darkness Sky wanted to take advantage of this opportunity, they wouldn't have such an expert. Moreover, Lei Sha paused. Yinsen understood what Lei Sha meant. The expert from Darkness Sky couldn't come at this time. Yinsen sighed and said, "If I'm not wrong, we all know this person." "Who is it?" Lei Sha asked subconsciously, and before Yinsen could answer, he understood and exclaimed, "You mean the first outsider to enter the light vault?" Yinsen nodded solemnly. "It shouldn't be wrong. Who has a grudge against him?" Back in the Radiant Treasury, other than Sage Lord Ju, there was also Brother Yu who wanted to kill him. Now that Brother Yu and Sage Master Ju's immortal abodes were destroyed, and their immortal abodes were also destroyed, who else could it be other than him? As for Brother Tang, I'm afraid he only let him off because of Tang Hua. Lei Sha took a deep breath and said in shock, "Could it be that what Brother Yi said was true? He didn't find this person? Besides, this person shouldn't be so powerful, right?" "It seems like that's the case. I'm sure Brother Yi knows that no one will believe him no matter how he explains. That's why he's too lazy to explain." As for Ning Cheng's strength, he was already at the perfected Dao integration realm back then, and because of the treasures in the Radiant Treasury he might have already reached the third step, Yinsen said. Lei Sha did not doubt Yinsen's words. Yinsen was a meticulous thinker and was famous for being wise among the 10 Dao lords. "Brother Yin, there was no news of Brother Yi during the battle between Sacred Light Sect and Dark Sky. Where do you think he went?" Lei Sha asked again. During the battle with Dark Sky, Yi Wenmao was the only one missing from the 10 Dao lords of the Radiant Sacred Region. At that time, everyone, including Zhu Jin, thought that Yi Wenmao had obtained Ning Cheng's item and gone into seclusion. If Yi Wenmao did not kill Ning Cheng, then Yi Wenmao obviously did not go into seclusion. 5,000 years ago, Brother Yi left the Radiant Sacred Region in a hurry, and there was no news of him after that. Now that Ning Cheng has appeared here, I'm afraid that Brother Yi has met with misfortune. Yinsen's tone contained a hint of sorrow. Even an expert like Yi Wenmao had fallen in pursuit of something. How could they avoid the same fate in the future? By now, Ning Cheng had already arrived at the periphery of the 5-colored Star Splitter Plaza. When Nong Shirua had given him the Jade Talisman, Ning Cheng had only felt grateful. He knew very well that with his perfected Dao integration strength, it would be very difficult for him to take away the 5-colored Star Splitter Bow without the Jade Talisman. The 5-colored Star Splitter Plaza's defense array had completely fused with the 5-colored Star Splitter Bow. Once he tried to take the 5-colored Star Splitter Bow, not to mention the Bow's threat, even the entrapment array and the 10 Dao lords would be difficult to deal with. Now that the Jade Talisman appeared in Ning Cheng's hand again, anger surged in his heart. The Jade Talisman contained a strand of Soul Dao rune. Once he crushed the Jade Talisman, this strand of Soul Dao rune would fuse with his essence spirit and be controlled by someone else. The person who could control him was undoubtedly Nong Shirua. Ning Cheng and Nong Shirua had stayed together before, so he naturally knew her aura. He couldn't sense it back when he was at Dao integration. But now that he had successfully created a world and condensed his own laws to fuse with the world, he could sense it the moment he held the Jade Talisman. With Ning Cheng's current cultivation, even if this strand of Soul Dao rune fused with his essence spirit, he could still peel it off. But he still couldn't get over it. He had saved Nong Shirua's life, so why would Nong Shirua do this? No, Ning Cheng immediately understood the reason behind it. Nong Shirua didn't do it, and even Nong Shirua herself didn't know about it. Nong Shirua had also saved his life. With Nong Shirua's character, she would never do such a thing. It was Nong Shimu's doing. When Nong Shimu gave the Jade Talisman to his daughter, he had already prevented anyone from harming his daughter. If his daughter, Nong Shirua, crushed the Jade Talisman, it wouldn't affect her in the slightest. Once someone crushed the Jade Talisman, they would have to obey Nong Shirua's orders and become her puppet. When Nong Shirua gave him the Jade Talisman, she didn't know that the Jade Talisman could be controlled by a soul. After Ning Cheng understood this point, he felt a lot more relaxed in his heart. He didn't like the feeling of being betrayed by a friend. He and Nong Shirua had both saved each other's lives, and it could be considered as a friendship of life and death. If he was betrayed because of this, he wouldn't feel good about it. As a friend, if Nong Shirua said that she wanted the 5-colored star splitter bow, he would definitely give it to her. However, this Nong Shimu couldn't see through the Soul Dao runes engraved on it. From this, it showed that this fellow wasn't simple. Ning Cheng put away the jade talisman and slowly walked towards the 5-colored star splitter square. Even without the jade talisman, with his current strength, he could still take away the 5-colored star splitter bow. The 5-colored star splitter square was a public place, and there were even some stalls on the edge. As long as one didn't touch the 5-colored star splitter bow, the restriction array here wouldn't be triggered. When Ning Cheng arrived, there weren't many people in the 5-colored star splitter square. In the middle of the 5-colored star splitter square was a huge square platform made of white jade. Above this white jade square platform was a huge bow. The bowstring was pointed in the direction of darkness heaven. Apparently, apart from symbolism, this bow was also used to deal with darkness heaven. The bow's color seemed to be gray, but it also looked like a 5-colored rainbow. The bow wasn't connected to the white jade square platform. Instead, it hovered directly above the white jade square platform. A condensed killing power surrounded the bow. If one didn't use their spiritual consciousness to scan it, they would only feel a powerful pressure. If one used their spiritual consciousness to scan it, the killing power would directly strangle their spiritual consciousness. Ning Cheng observed for a long time under the white jade square platform. He could see that the 5-colored star splitter bow was protected by a large defensive array. Outside this defensive array, there was a killing array, and outside the killing array was a trapping array. The 3 grand arrays locked the 5-colored star splitter bow, which made Ning Cheng feel secretly shocked. If he hadn't reached the 3rd step world creation realm, he wouldn't have been able to take away the 5-colored star splitter bow even if he came here. Just as Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness slowly penetrated the periphery of the 5-colored star splitter bow, the killing power around the 5-colored star splitter bow suddenly surged. The endless killing intent rolled towards the 5-colored star splitter bow like a huge wave. At this moment, Ning Cheng found himself in the middle of this endless killing power. The killing intent grew thicker and thicker. In the end, it almost tore Ning Cheng to shreds and turned into a wave of killing intent. Ning Cheng felt shocked. He had come here without doing anything. Moreover, his spiritual consciousness had just touched the periphery of the 5-colored star splitter bow's killing power. Yet, the 5-colored star splitter bow had already been activated? This made Ning Cheng feel a trace of fear. Was the 5-colored star splitter bow really this powerful? The 5-colored star splitter bow has been activated. Hurry up and retreat. The few people on the public square quickly retreated with horror after sensing the activation of the 5-colored star splitter bow. Everyone here knew that once the 5-colored star splitter bow's killing power fully rolled up, any living creature left on the public square would turn into killing intent. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness did not hesitate to forcibly split open the surrounding killing intent and rushed into the 5-colored star splitter bow's killing power space. When he saw that the 5-colored star splitter bow had indeed been drawn, he saw a condensed killing intent converging on the 5-colored star splitter bow. At the same time, a faintly discernible long arrow was knocked on the 5-colored star splitter bow. Ning Cheng understood that he wasn't the one who activated the 5-colored star splitter bow. The 5-colored star splitter arrow on the 5-colored star splitter bow wasn't aimed at him, but towards the north. Ning Cheng no longer hesitated and stepped out into the void. He wanted to take away the 5-colored star splitter bow at this moment. Ning Cheng had just lifted his foot when a violent killing intent swept over. It felt as if it wanted to lock Ning Cheng under the white jade square platform. Ning Cheng ignored this killing intent. Not to mention that the 5-colored star splitter bow had locked onto the opponent at this moment. Even if it didn't lock onto anyone, it couldn't do anything to him. With a slight movement of his toes, the billowing killing intent rushing towards Ning Cheng immediately split apart. Almost at the same time, the trap and kill array activated, and a light Dao charm formed a cage-like trap array that locked onto Ning Cheng. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.